Okay, welcome to Community Board Two's SLA 2 April meeting. My name is Donna Raftery. I'm Chair of the committee. Other members are Bob Ely, Cormac Flynn, Brian Pape, Carter Booth, Erica Olson, Dr. Shirley Smith, and Katie Bordenaro. We are going to be listening to the applications out of order, but agendas are up here. And what I'll do is I call the applicants up. They go through the application. The committee asks them questions. And then if there are people here from the public on the item, we go to the public. Everyone from the public speaks. And then we go back to the applicant to address anything. The public speaks to the committee, the applicants speak to the committee. I ask that there's no going back and forth, and that everybody speak politely and respectfully. If you're here to speak on a topic and someone before you has said everything you were going to say, please don't repeat everything, but do stand up, state your name, and say that you agree with what everybody else said. I think that's it. Oh, we have to use the microphone. So please use the microphone over here. The stand adjusts. You can pull the microphone out. You can tilt it up and down, but we need to use the microphones. That goes for the committee as well. And I think that's it. So we'll get started. The first two items are items that I have waived appearance on. One is DBNB LLC, formerly known Partners LLC, formerly known as DBNB LLC, doing business as Serpentine. We heard this previously. We have stipulations. They just changed the name. There's no change in principles. So they are re-signing STIPs in the proper name. So when we search things, we'll be able to track it, but the license has already been issued. And so that's done. 214 Sullivan LLC at 214 Sullivan Street is a restaurant wine. We heard this last month as an on-premise restaurant. We have signed stipulations. The board recommended approval of the license with stipulations being adhered to. And so they are filing also concurrently for a restaurant wine license so that they can get a temporary license sooner. The SLA says that's okay. So we have waived appearance since it's the exact same application. We have the stipulations for it. So that's two. So the first one we're going to hear is Mackie 350 Hudson LLC. This is a restaurant wine, previously unlicensed location. If you're here, come on up.
Hello? All right, let's start again. Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Boris Soren. I'm an attorney at Sullivan Soren. I represent Mackie 350 Hudson LLC. They're applying today for a beer and wine license at their location at 350 Hudson Street, Suite 103. The operation has been open without a liquor license or beer and wine license for about a year now. It's about 12 tables, fairly small operation, on basically a restaurant row. The unique aspect of this restaurant is they'll be serving Japanese style beer and wine that is not in the area right now, sake and similar types of drinks. The operation is owned and operated by a husband and wife. They have a previous location that has a liquor license on 6th Avenue. And a location that does not have a liquor license. That's pretty much it. If you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer any questions you may have. This is Kevin, by the way. He's one of the principals and operators.
So the hours are 11.
The hours are going to be, they're closed on Saturday and Sunday.
So we're a fast casual chain and our primary business is really lunch and a little bit of late evening takeout delivery business. We close at 8 o'clock. That's our principal. Right now, we don't have any business justification to be open during the weekend because it's a very office-centric location. It's a new development zone, and I think there's a lot of offices like Disney coming on, but until then, there's just the foot traffic is challenging. So we have to bring on additional resources such as this to drive business and justify the cost.
So it's 11 to 8 Monday to Thursday and 11 to 5 on Friday. Those,
Correct, and that's our usual operations for the other stores as well. We're never open past 8.
okay. So are we looking to be open till 8 on Friday? I mean, it's no reason.
We have to see because it's
Okay.
very office centric. I think that entire area is still waiting to develop.
What happens?
There's like a Kava, there's a Port Said, but it's not really heavily foot traffic by residents.
Okay. Music is background only?
Very light.
Okay, and there's no TVs,
No,
there's no outside seating,
no,
there's no operable doors and windows other than entering and
correct.
leaving. And it's 6 tables and 12 seats. And the bathroom
Single.
was right
bathroom.
there. Yep. Okay, I think that's it for me. Does anybody from the committee have any questions? Okay, that's it. We'll get you stipulations tomorrow or Monday to sign.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, the next application is going to be Solaluna, New York LLC, doing business as Solaluna, 4143 Carmine Street.
Good evening, everyone. I'll take over the introductions. I'm Robert Romano. I'm one of the attorneys representing Solaluna, New York LLC. With me is Piero Massimino and Oren Sandowski. Oren is the landlord's rep and Piero's attorney with me on this. This is for you. Would you like to explain?
I thought it was, since I'm the one with the accent, I'm supposed to speak about the concept.
Yes, tell me about the concept.
So our client is an Italian from Venezia, Italy, and they have this restaurant, which is called Sulla Luna, as like the location that we open here in New York, which is the definition of a charming place because it's actually a bookstore, which also serves some cold dish. And normally when you ask to describe a restaurant, you will look at the pictures of the dishes. For Sulla Luna, you should look at the pictures of the books because it's not an ordinary bookstore. It's actually a bookstore specialized in illustrated books. And this has been very successful in Venice. It's been featured in tour guides. And they have had so many visitors from New York who told her to open the same here. They eventually decided to and find the location that Oren was generously offering to them at 41 Carmine. And they are very excited to become part of the neighborhood. They do need a liquor license as part of the brand because something that they offer in Venezia, Italy is a Prosecco and wine, but it's not really a drinking establishment. It's more a food establishment as an Italian restaurant would be of the peculiar kind because it's mostly vegan and the cold dishes.
And so could you just go through your name again? You are, okay, and your relationship to this is?
So I'm an attorney.
Okay.
And I'm representing, I've represented and I'm representing the entity here in New York.
Okay. Okay. And,
Bob is the attorney of record with the State Liquor Authority.
yeah.
Right.
And,
My name is Oren Sandowski,
okay,
and I'm here representing ownership of the
Okay.
building.
of the building. Okay, great. So you were here, or Lorenzo was here
Right.
last,
I'm sorry, I
Yeah.
need to say that I'm here also because Lorenzo couldn't be here,
okay,
of which he apologizes profusely.
okay,
And that's why I was asked to comment in his stead and speak as he would.
okay.
He had the accent, I did.
Lorenzo, as you know, he appeared here in person. He had to
Yeah.
return to Italy and couldn't made it in time to come here for the meeting.
Okay, so this is for it's not for a restaurant wine, it's for a full liquor license for
Yes.
restaurant.
Full liquor.
Okay, and what we went through last time when he was here was really that the application has seating both upstairs and in the cellar. And that we don't see anything that says that the cellar can be used and that there's a violation on the cellar for its use. So,
So I take responsibility for have let Lorenzo come here alone and unprepared. So that's why now we are showing here in full force
Right.
to clear this up. And that's why also Oren is here, because he represents the landlord and is aware of the situation and would like to clear the air about this issue. You want to explain or? is it-
Just briefly, the location is fully approved for an eating and drinking establishment on the ground floor and the lower level.
where does it say that?
We have approved plans and an approved Schedule A.
But I don't have anything. Use the microphone.
Yeah, so there's an educated violation that says you can't use the basement.
It's not educated. Ownership was never served with that violation. They've made application to the city to reopen that application and to dispute it on the merits.
And so that job that you're talking about has been open since what, 2011 or earlier? The plans are from 2011. It's never been finished.
It's still permitted and it's. approved
It's
by the
not, I
city.
mean, you may be able to do it, but it's not signed off.
If I may, what I think is the issue is that basically we found out that this was an issue the moment we appeared here at because the restaurant operated based on what we believe to be the legitimate assumption.
It did not. Sorry, but that's not true. They came to us and told us they were not using the basement, the previous operator.
We are not aware of that.
Oh, I'm just telling you, and that's why it's not a permissible use. It never has been. You may have filed it, but it was never finished. You can't.
We have a Schedule A that
You have a Schedule A, but where is your certificate of occupancy where the job's been stalled for over a decade?
It's not stalled. I mean,
it wasn't signed off maybe.
yeah,
it
but it's
was
not
being-
stalled. The place is built. It's legally constructed.
Why then is there a violation from 2021? I mean, there's a violation from 2021 that indicates a cellar to be that indicates that I printed it so small, but the cellar to be legally approved as storage, illegally occupancy. No, so that's from
what-
2021. That's,
Correct me if I'm wrong, because we've tried to figure out this after it happened. When, after Lorenzo came here at the meeting, we found
microphone, you have to
Sorry.
go into.
correct me whenever you want, Oren, because I just want to try to resume for the benefit of the board. When we found out that the violations were issued, you realized that you had never received this violation. The violation was issued, we suppose, by default, simply because you never were notified that they ask you, are you operating with a permit or not? Had you been notified, you would have answered with the approved
But
plan.
they say,
and
I
the-
mean, I'm just gonna say that they say that it's legally approved as storage, illegal occupancy noted, cellar level has been converted, occupied as eating and drinking, but there is no certificate of occupancy that states that.
I
for the cell.
suppose that the certificate of occupancy is amended when the work is signed off. I suppose. When the result.
Wait, use the microphone over there, please.
Do you have a copy?
What I'd like to see is a copy of the certificate of occupancy.
The building has no certificate of occupancy.
Well,
That's not true.
that's
It
not
does.
true. It
The
does.
Building, the certificate of occupancy is number 85622. It was issued on April 6, 1984.
Can you show this, Schedule A to the board?
Sure.
please?
We've seen the Schedule A, but the work was never finished, is what our point is.
No, the work was finished.
Never was signed off.
Finished.
Signed off. I think it's the concept here that we're discussing about and that we found out became an issue.
So what I would say, because we can go back and forth on this, I have nothing in front of me from the Department of Buildings that shows that that cellar is legally allowed to be used for eating and drinking. An architect's plan, what, okay, so what is this? Eating and drinking, first floor, storage, cellar, eating and drinking. with
that's
cellar,
great,
In
but it's-
conjunction with cellar. But this is not,
The last, what job is this filed under, first of all? Can you just tell us that?
Yes.
Is it 103-781043?
Excuse me, miss, at the second line, it says eating and drinking in conjunction with cellar.
but that's all under the column that says proposed. It doesn't say legal, existing legal use. It says proposed use. So where is it telling me that the work has been done, that now that's the legal use?
It's job number 103-781-043.
Okay, so the most recent status on this was from October 30th of last year, and it was a post-approval amendment, which was disapproved. I'm looking at the Department of Buildings website right now on that. So whatever that job is, there's obviously issues with it.
What, consider that Sulla Luna is now in the process of doing works that will make the building and the space compliant to the requirements of the Department of Building. That's not an issue and that's not in dispute. The question is whether they can. Now, the fact is that the premises now look like the plans that have been submitted and have not been signed off and approved. What the new tenant will do before starting operating, because otherwise it could start operating, is to sign off any permit currently open, because he cannot sign off his permits if he doesn't sign off the other permits that are currently open. This should resolve the issue that the previous drinking establishment had. We hope that this will be enough to clear this hurdle that we have in the process, which is the acceptance of the concept from the board. Now, it's, I will say, it doesn't even need a stipulation of the fact that the restaurant will not operate if it's not in compliance with the law. But it's
Okay, so I just want to go here. So I understand what you're saying, what you hope will happen and all that, and hope that you're right. We can't rely on that because this is not our first rodeo, and we know it often doesn't happen that way. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that this is not about what your client wants to do in terms of their business or anything like that. This is about the fact that that basement cannot currently be used for this purpose legally, and we cannot issue a recommendation for a liquor license to a place that is not. The state liquor authority has told us that we here are responsible for checking on things like, is this an appropriate place for it to be? Is it permitted? And all this kind of stuff that under the liquor law municipalities do. So go get the paperwork finished up. If you say that it can be, then make it happen and come back.
First of all, the microphone.
I apologize. This board routinely sees applicants that in the early stages of a project are not compliant, don't have a C of O, don't have a
Yeah,
letter of
yeah,
no
yeah,
objection.
but let me
Okay,
speak to that
yeah,
and then they might. Is
This
that-
job started in 2004. It's not the early stages.
So that's the
I'm
point.
talking about this, I apologize, this applicant.
My point is that our policy here has always been, if people don't have their CFO and things in order because we don't want to stop business or be
Mhm.
anti-business or whatever. If we see no reason why it won't go forward, right? If we see no problem with it, there was a place there before, there's no, it's obvious from the CFO, it's just pro forma, then yeah, we don't, we try to be
Mhm.
flexible in things. Here we have a situation of, work that's been in process and hasn't been finished in things for 13 years. A violation 2 years ago. A situation that is, as Mr. Booth just said, not in its early stages, right? It began as a renovation years ago. Again, I understand it's not the applicant, right? This is,
Right.
but landlord and things like that. But that's not a situation in which we, I won't speak for everybody because I can't. For me, I don't feel comfortable thinking this is just a pro forma rubber stamp thing. They're just going to approve it. They already issued a violation. Will they approve this after? Will they look at the plans? Will they be okay? I don't know. And so I'm not comfortable. That's all I'm saying.
And I'm just gonna back up. So the reason this started, which we kind of just jumped in, is because this is a residentially zoned area.
Right.
And this is you can't expand a non-conforming use.
I'm sorry, what's it?
You cannot expand a non-conforming use. And all the Department of Building records show that the basement is storage. And storage is a passive use, and you can't expand the eating and drinking use from the ground floor because it's not an allowable use in the underlying zoning district. That's the issue here. And the fact that there's a violation that is there, in which there are hearings, et cetera, and it's been completed, that's the issue. If you can see that, and this job there's been no activity in years on it, as far as getting any of the sign-offs, getting any of the plumbing inspections, the electrical inspections, all the things that happen with the project. Nothing was done to finish it. So
The previous tenant was negligent in their obligation to do those things, but I would like to ask which portion of the zoning code are you quoting are you relying on for that? What you mentioned about,
can't expand a non-conforming use. I mean, that's just the base and new practice in that area.
yeah, I have part of the code that says that you can,
Expand a non-conforming.
yes.
I looked at another submission that we made to the liquor authority that quotes, it will take 2 minutes to find it. But that's just the only thing, that you can't expand a non-conforming use if it's only.
I'm trying to find it, but I know, I have seen it. You can't do it in a residential area. Or just give us a second.
It's always interesting. I mean, this is that. Yeah, no, it's always interesting. You're asking me to prove the rules, whereas the burden's actually on you guys to prove that you can use the space, but I will give you the accommodation in doing that.
Well,
You guys have produced nothing that says you can use the space.
we have approved plans that says we
Yeah,
can use the
but
place.
from what year on your plans, and where is your certificate of occupancy?
But okay. Approved plans, self-certified approved plans does not mean that the Department of Buildings has gone to that location, said this is a safe location to use the basement for eating and drinking. That's clearly what the concern is. We don't know, and you haven't established it. So The plans are not self-certified. Plans, whether they're self-certified or not, okay, are just plans.
They're stamped by the building department.
All right, we're just gonna go back and forth here because I do think that the folks on this side of the community board have encountered this issue multiple times. This is a downstairs basement, which has never been properly used for eating and drinking. The last applicant came to us, I was the chair at the time, and said there was no basement. And that's what was in the resolution. So they didn't tell us the truth. And yet they've been using that basement for years. And so now it's time, it was a day of reckoning. And so now there's a new application. Unfortunately, this wasn't sorted out, and it should have been sorted out before you guys came to us, but now you're trying to sort it out with us, and we're back and forth, and I think we made it very clear.
I want to concede that I see very clearly your point. And I was thinking that starting from these premises, that there's an issue that needs to be resolved by the applicant here. It's not that it has to be left there hanging. I'm thinking in practical terms whether the community board can help us in solving this issue as well, while they proceed with the terribly long period that the state liquor authority now takes to process any legal application. If I understand the issue correctly, you have a very understandable problem with the fact that there is an open violation. Correct. An open violation that the landlord said is in the process to resolve.
But it hasn't been resolved.
But it hasn't been resolved yet.
Let me just, we can go back and forth.
No, my point, no, but I'm agreeing with all the gentlemen here and yourself said until now. What I'm saying is, can we stipulate that?
I'm going to just cut you off because we can keep going back and forth. We cannot stipulate that if you get this done, then it will be okay. I'm just telling you, we hear these rear yards, we hear situations like this. We have never done it. We do not do it unless it shows it's legally able to be used. This does not show, as Cormac said, if it looks like it's in the process, you have a violation, it's never been used, as Carter is trying to find for you, and I know I've read it before, that you can expand non-conforming uses. So if you want to change your application so that you are using the ground floor of the restaurant and not using the cellar, we will be more than happy to entertain this application. But with the cellar on it, I don't believe that this committee is that interested in entertaining the cellar use, but if you don't want to remove it, we can vote on it as what's been supplied to us now. That's up to you.
What's that? I think we'll add the cellar the moment he fixes
All right. So the zoning resolution is 5234 commercial uses in a residence district. In all residence districts, a non-conforming use listed in a variety of use groups.
Can we do that, please? Would the board agree whether if we do what you just suggested, we modify our application to not include the cellar? Will the board eventually reconsider a few months from now when we have resolved?
Anybody can always come back here for an alteration to their license to add, take away, or whatever. We always hear
That
that,
seems to be the most
But-
sensible
but-
course of action.
right? Yeah, so you would have to withdraw this and put,
Right. Can we just amend it here? Because this
well,
would.
we're not, we need
we
a
need-
questionnaire supplied to us that properly shows the seats, the number of tables, how it's going to be used and everything else.
I understand. I'm just asking if it could, because this would be like.
I know.
We can't do-
Setting it back.
Of course it is, but we went through this, I'm just going to say, this was extremely clear last month what the problem was with this application. And what we said was we needed to see that the basement could be used. And having a plan does not show us that the basement can be used with a violation on it and everything else. And he found the non-conforming use thing, but that is the issue. So we cannot just take off the cellar because 3/4 of the seating that you have on this application is in the cellar of the plan that I'm looking at. So I don't know how you would, I mean, it's not like you're eliminating a private dining room. You,
Yeah, no, I just, Madam Chair, I just wanted to say, we have a full agenda tonight, and a lot of applications. And, I mean, they need to revise their application. I don't know if they're not Superman, how they get that done by the end of this meeting. So I think they should lay over, but
Right.
that's their choice. But in the meantime, while they figure it out, maybe we should move
Right,
on.
just to expedite it, we will withdraw this application and
very
go
good.
back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. The next application is going to be West 10 West LLC, doing business as West 10 West, 242 West 10th Street. This is a restaurant wine. It's an alteration to add sidewalk and roadbed.
Terrence hasn't turned up yet. And I don't think I can do this on my own, right?
That's fine. So he's coming though, right?
I hope so.
Okay.
He was supposed to be here, but
Okay, well, this has happened. It's, everybody always wants to be called early, and then sometimes when I do it, they're not here. So sit down. We'll call you back.
okay, awesome.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so then, the next one is Saltwater, New York City LLC, doing business as Saltwater Cafe, 120 Coffee, 126 Waverly Place. This is a tavern wine.
Hi, everyone. My name's Suhail. I'm the owner.
Go ahead.
Hi, everyone. My name's Suhail. I'm the owner of Saltwater Coffee, which is a cafe we've been running for about 3 years or 4 years in the West Village. And then we have an older location in the East Village for 7 years now. We're just trying to expand to a beer and wine license. I've a licensed New York City bartender and mixologist. I was in the Best American Food Writing last year, super passionate about wine. And yeah, I think it would be fun to add some beer and wine, just a rotating natural wine list, highlight some New York City producers, and just play some atmospheric jazz music in the background, nothing too crazy.
And your hours?
Currently, our hours are 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. and then 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. on the weekends. We've put till 7 a.m. till midnight. Part of that is because just understanding, does it make sense to, or feasible to stay open till midnight? But likely would probably want to close by 11 on most nights.
Okay. And it's just background music. There's no TVs, there's no outside.
That's right.
And 3 tables and 19 seats. And so my one question is the bathroom.
Yeah.
Is it separated from the kitchen? It looks like it opens into the kitchen area and that.
No, it's separated. There's a partition that separates the back of house from the front of house.
Oh, yeah,
And there's enough space
Okay.
over there for it to be ADA
Okay.
accessible and everything.
okay. Got it. Go ahead.
So I have a couple of concerns about this that have to do with the location and not anything about you personally, just to be clear about that. Which is the street that you're looking to open on is a fairly quiet one. It's quiet at night. A lot of people use it as a back channel to get across and skip that part of 8th Street.
Mhm.
It's particularly, quieter at night. And so I am concerned about, you're talking about hours till 12 and with outdoor dining at night. That's a very residential block.
No outdoor dining.
No outdoor.
No.
Okay, I misunderstood that. But late hours like that, serving basically bar, alcohol. I am concerned about the residents above and the residents around there and the late night noise. Can you speak to that issue?
Yeah, I mean, we reached out to Michael Oppenheimer, the Waverly Block Association president. He sent out an email to the association and its members, and if anybody had anything to say about that, then we're happy to address those concerns. We've been operating there for 4 years now. Oh, okay, great. Nice. Well, thank you for stopping by. Yeah, it is kind of residential. I think the idea is to be respectful and be, if there's some our recommendations, I'm happy to, listen to them. We use a small Bose speaker that we're going to continue to use. We're not changing anything with the space or the operation. So we only have one person there. We're probably only going to have like 5 to 10 people there per night. The type of people that are going to be coming in are going to enjoy natural wine. So it's not a full liquor bar. It's a beer and wine. And, we're actually trying to do like more like seated tastings that are, kind of you have to reserve beforehand for that. So we're not going to get too much walking in traffic. So that's kind of the idea, is to keep it there. I'm also going to be manning it myself, and as the owner, just be able to handle some issues that come up a little bit more quickly. No problem.
Katie, you have? I have a couple questions. So we have some sort of a rendering, architectural rendering, but I don't have a floor plan with the tables and chairs on it. This looks like it's the electrical.
There's a second page.
Where's
that
where's
has
the
the-
other one? Oh, oh, good, because it wasn't in the packet that I got. Okay. And what do you do what do you have on the sidewalk right now?
There's nothing on the sidewalk. There's
Aren't there benches and a sandwich board?
sometimes there's in the summertime we have a bench out there right in front of the door, but we don't really use it.
Little tables? I saw a picture with 4 benches, 2 tables.
When we opened, we did have the benches out there, but we don't do that, and we don't really do that anymore.
You don't put that sandwich board out anymore either?
I think for the last 2 years, we haven't had the sandwich board. Somebody punched a hole in it, so yeah.
Okay, well, thank you for answering.
Yeah.
Anybody else have anything? So hours, what were you gonna do, Cormac?
I was just going to say about the benches. The benches, the sandwich board are not allowed even now. So we obviously won't want to see those
Sure.
under this.
I mean, I think the midnight is a little bit late. What is 10 o'clock, 10 and 11 o'clock? What could work for you? Especially if it's just you, you're going to be in at 8 in the morning. You're going to want
I
to go
know.
home at some point.
Yeah. And I just got married too, so
Oh.
thank you. Yeah, I think 11 o'clock, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday are going to be the days where we're probably going to, actually be operating it mostly. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Sunday, I probably would want to close it by 9. We'll have to test it out, but probably 9 sounds right.
Okay.
And yeah, 11 Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
All right. So let me see. I've got someone here from the public. So let me go to the public and then we'll come back.
Sure.
So Christine, the Comas, economist, correct.
So, I'm a resident of Waverly Place. I've lived there for 50 years, and I was head of the Block Association for about 25. Okay. Since COVID, Waverly Place between 6th Avenue and Washington Square has been dealing with quality of life issues. Drug dealing, public urination and defecation, drug addicts shooting up on our stoops or in our vestibules, theft of packages, and homeless encampments are among the many situations we confront every day. As you mentioned, Michael Oppenheimer and other residents, we have been fighting to take the block back. We've hired a security company to patrol 7 days a week. Granting a wine and beer license to a small coffee shop is not okay. It's not a wine bar. There are 3 small tables and then seating by the window looking out. It's too small. There is one barista working. Who is going to check IDs? Who is going to stop people from taking the wine outside, on the block, on our stoops, in our doorways, in the park? It also, if the barista has to check IDs, what if somebody is seated with 3 other people at a table and one person comes up to get the wine? Who's checking the other 3 IDs? And I'm just hearing now that it's going to be open till 11 or 12. That's not okay. And also in the past, I find that Saltwater is remiss in cleaning up in front. When they had those benches, the outside flower boxes, thank God you took them away. Thank you. One day at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I saw 2 women lying across the flower boxes with 2 men shooting them up. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I went in and I said, do something. Do you see what's going on? And the poor woman said, what am I supposed to do? So I started a petition yesterday. Unfortunately, it was pouring rain and I couldn't get anyone to sign it. I did speak to Detective Evram Khan, head of community affairs at the 6th Precinct. He said the 6th Precinct would oppose them opening a wine and beer establishment. So, sorry.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Go ahead, Dr. Smith.
Did you get that in writing? Did you get that in writing? No, I'm here. Yeah, I'm speaking. Yes. You have it in writing? Okay. I would just prefer to see it in writing as opposed to your saying.
Yes, I just like, there's no public interest standard for a beer and wine license. And most of the activities you're talking about are outside of the bar. And this is a very difficult, because this is checking the IDs happens right at the counter. We have many of these types of establishments here. Trust me, people are just going to go to the bodega and buy a beer and bring it to the park. They're not going to come here and buy it. So I'm just trying to, I understand you have concerns here. The coffee shop doesn't want people shooting up on their benches. This was an area-wide problem. And I think it's improved dramatically. I mean, I regularly go to the 6th Precinct Community Council meetings, and the issues there are not tied to businesses. They're tied to larger conditions. And well, that's right, but they're not created by the business is the issue. And so the standard of what you're asking us to do from what a business is requesting is not going to be upheld by the liquor authority. There's no standard on this. And particularly if they're willing to close at hours like 10 o'clock, where they're not impacting the quality of life on this. And generally speaking, and the applicant can take this on their own, but I don't think, from my experience in talking to people after the fact, they don't sell a whole lot of beer and wine. It's simply an option so that somebody with somebody else comes in. It is not often a profit center. Selling a few hundred cups of coffee that's where their money comes from. And this is just simply to extend the shoulders of their day. So somebody comes in after work who maybe wants a coffee and somebody wants a glass of wine, so that they can extend their business and stay in business. And I trust me, the numbers really don't work out. I mean, you can speak for yourself, but that's why, and a lot of the concerns here, I mean, you put us in a very difficult spot, because it's not like we don't want to listen to reasonable concerns. And your concerns are very reasonable, but it puts us in a very awkward position of an existing business that's just trying to make it a coffee shop relevant after 6 p.m. And that's something that we see throughout our area with coffee shops in particular, and their rents keep going up. And it's not like, I'm not going to speak for myself on the coffee that I like, but they drift into, certainly getting much more expensive for a cup of coffee, and that becomes difficult too. So, I mean, it's better to partner with them and say, hey, can you clean up? Or if you're porter or your staff or whatever in the beginning or end of the day or whatever, but they're not contributing to addicts. They're not contributing to drinking in the park. It's a coffee shop. And in fact, the argument, while I don't necessarily agree with it, is that a viable business that's open a little later instead of being empty prevents somebody from sitting on the ground even in front of the business if it's open, which is the other issue. So it's a bit of a challenge that we face around the park, and it's very real. Not disagreeing with it at all, but Cormac lives very close, so.
Yeah, and so, I mean, if only it actually discouraged people from doing it. But listen, I'm not going to cut off my colleagues who want to speak. I feel like we've gotten all the information. I do want to say the two things, as Economos said, that I think are very important. You are a very small space. And so I would be mindful of crowding, especially sidewalk crowding is going to become a big issue for us if that happens. And to do what you can, the point about the policing with filth and things on the block in general is real. I don't expect you to clean the whole block, but try to police maybe storefront in front of you. We ask that much more and expect more of that from people with liquor licenses than people just selling coffee, is to try to keep that sidewalk clean and
Absolutely, yeah.
whatever. Okay, so I just wanted to add that. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you, Chair, for the time.
And the space used to be an old Urban Outfitters warehouse. I guarantee you, if it was that, it would be a lot worse on that block. Having a business there, like you said, I think, we try to keep it as clean as possible. This new sanitation rules are that we have the pails out there. I'm pretty on top of that, and when I'm not, Michael lets me know, and we're in communication. So we're pretty engaged, small business owners. It is pretty much a break-even business. So I'm just trying to, if the place closes down, which is very real, then the block's going to get much worse. So the park's been an issue for a long time, and we've been trying to help with that as much as we can.
Dr. Smith?
I think living in the neighborhood, we've noticed that, a lot of things are not as well as we'd like for them to be. However, maybe what you might want to do, since you have the support of the precinct, maybe you might ask the precinct, what can they also do to help?
Yep. So back to, I'm good. Anybody else from the committee? I'm going to go back to the hours. You want to look at maybe 10 o'clock or 10, 11 o'clock.
Yeah, we can be amenable to that. Sure.
Okay. And that means everybody out. Just, when we have closing hours, it means all patrons out. That's
Right.
okay. Okay. Thank you. Okay. The next application is going to be 299 Hospitality LLC at 299 West Houston.
May I proceed, Donna?
Right ahead, just make sure you speak into the
I
microphone.
will do that. So my name's Mike Palutis. I'm here on behalf of 299 Hospitality LLC. I'm joined this evening by Flynn McGarry, who is one of the owners and the operating principal. Flynn was something of a teen chef, starting in the kitchen at age 10. He has been his career has been chronicled in documentaries, so you may have some familiarity, you may not. Most recently, Flynn has been involved in Gem and Gem Wine, which are in the East Village. And he's been operating the kitchens in both of those stores with his sister, who is the ownership there. Okay. This project is at 299 West Houston. It was previously licensed as a Chalet. That was a beer and wine only license. This project is going to be a high-end vegetable focused, somewhat fine dining project. You can't hear me? So this is a vegetable focused fine dining restaurant. And that aligns with Flynn's with his pedigree, I think. Indoors, there'll be 21 tables with 75 seats and 8 seats at the bar counter. There will be a sidewalk cafe, 8 tables and 16 seats in the cafe. There will be no TVs, no live music, no DJs, no security. Establishment will offer only recorded music. I heard you say on the last application, closing time means everyone out. 10:30, which is what's indicated in the questionnaire, is when Flynn wants to give last call. So what we would ask, I guess, is an hour after that to have patrons exit. It's a largely commercial area. Flynn did knock on doors and did outreach. We submitted a page of signatures, which I hope everyone has. They're also in the materials I distributed. I think I also submitted a letter of support from Ivy Kwan Ark, who I think is the chair of the Arts Committee here at CB2. We reached out to the West Village Tenants Association twice, and as far as I know, they had no comment on the application. Flynn believes that this will be a plus for the neighborhood. Early closing hours in a largely commercial area. And with that, I'm going to let Flynn say hello and sort of.
Good.
Hi, thank you guys for
Hi.
having me tonight. I can give you a little bit of a background, not very long, but so I've been the chef at Gem, which was a tasting menu restaurant that we closed that to turn it into Gem Wine, which is a more, kind of natural wine bar with a little bit of food, so I could actually focus on building this project. The idea with the restaurant really is to kind of take what we built at Gem in its original little, we had 18 seats. It was a very small place, and kind of build it up to a slightly larger scale, and to be able to kind of feed more people in the space. We only work with local farmers in New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania. I go to the farmer's market 5 times a week. If you've ever been, you've probably seen me with a cart. The restaurant to me is always it's a vehicle to support these farmers, the small natural winemakers we work with, the small importers we work with, and really, a way as, a young person in an industry that feels very sort of doomed, to try to sort of show a way that we can, keep going and keep inspiring people. Our staff is very young and excited, and we've at the restaurant, most of our team started with us when they were, 21, fresh out of culinary school, and now are, 26, 27, have been there the whole time. And this is really a way to take those team members who've given so much to us, and give them room to kind of grow and flourish. Something that we really want this restaurant to be is a way to appreciate these ingredients and wines and all these things, but also kind of shine a light on how much work goes into it. Being able to hire as many
people as possible, you know, give as many jobs out in this field, be able to, we work a lot with culinary schools and do externships. We always do paid externships. You know, we really want to be a place where people come to learn. You know, one of my biggest inspirations as a young chef was this place Chez Panisse in California that was this sort of like mecca for, you know, young cooks to go learn how to treat vegetables and learn from farmers. And I believe, you know, we have this amazing quality and amazing, you know, ability to do this in a city like New York. And, you know, I'm dedicated to making this project influential for this sort of next generation of our team members. And, you know, making the space with, you know, the different kind of options in it available to the people in the neighborhood, available to people kind of traveling to New York, so they can really show everything that we're trying to do in the space. But yeah, I'd love to hear any questions or.
Any patron use of the cellar? I don't.
No.
No, the cellar's gonna be used for. storage.
Microphone. We don't
Sorry.
have a mic-
There'll be storage in the cellar.
Okay.
So it's listed as part of the licensed premises, but there'll be no
No
retail
patron use.
Nope.
Okay. And then, okay, so the one thing I see, there's a certificate of occupancy, but I don't see a place of assembly. Public, so you'll,
I can speak on this.
yeah,
So
go ahead.
It's 2 spaces.
We're taking the space to
yeah.
the left as well, correct?
So it's 2 spaces. They both have full entry and exit. And they, 2 means of egress.
Right. So, okay, so that was gonna be one of it. So you're taking and does your space end at the double doors of the adjacent space?
Yeah.
So that other window that's to the left of those double doors, west of those double doors is not part of
ours.
it?
No.
So there's a wall going down.
Correct.
There. Okay. And then, my other question was with the outside. So the outside seating, let's see, it's a neighborhood corridor. You need an 8-foot clear path. And, thank you for providing the measurements that you did. But I think there's a tree pit issue by the one column on the west side. I think but they end here.
Is there a tree pit here?
Oh, there's a lamp and a lamp post. So there's a tree pit right across from that column, and I think that's part of that 8 feet, right?
Yeah.
So I think those tables, I don't think, what I'm saying is I don't think you're gonna have to conform to the regulations,
Yeah.
and I don't think this diagram is going to do that. And then there's also,
See what we're.
Yeah.
Yeah. That 8 feet is measured. From the 8 feet is measured from this point at the end of the. Is measured from there. Not from the curb. Because it's an 8-foot clear path is totally clear. So it's actually set.
Yeah,
back
so could we have them on the
4 or
left?
5 feet.
Like, or sorry, on the diagram. Yeah.
So the clear path is basically, you know, if you took an 8-foot long stick and you move around, that it's not in the way of any obstructions.
Okay.
And that, yeah, I mean, and this is new because in the past, tree pits, if they were flat, wouldn't count, but now all tree pits count, no matter there being a tree pit or not.
So the intention here, obviously, is to conform to the regulations, right?
Right.
So we understand that we have to comply with DOT's regulations.
right.
So my question to you is, how can we manage this?
So what I would do, is say that you will conform to the regulations. The other thing I was going to say is, can we close the outside at 10 o'clock? And that was how I was going to look at dealing with the outside. You're gonna have to come to our, as you had to before for the sidewalk, your liquor license is through us, but you still have to go to, right now it's for outdoor dining group, with your plans on this, and then you'll have to have that tree pit in there and all those measurements in there.
So we will have the more detailed diagram that's going to be submitted to DOT that you and I have been talking about on another matter, prepared and submitted to the committee that's hearing that.
Right.
But we can agree.
But for our purposes, it will, your stipulation will say that any outdoor seating you have will end at 10 PM and will conform to all the rules and regulations of the program.
Absolutely.
Okay. Does anybody on the committee have anything?
Can we go over the inside hours again? Because it says one thing, but you said that meant something else. So can you clarify that?
Yes, and my apologies. What I intended was for last call to be at 10:30. I understand, having heard Ms. Raftery's comments on the last application, that whatever's included in the stipulation means everybody out. So if the establishment is giving last call at 10:30, Mr. McGarry will need an hour to clear patrons. And so that's why I've asked that rather than a 10:30 closing time, we include an 11:30 closing time. He will give last call at 10:30, and he expects all of his guests to exit over the course of the hour that follows.
Donna, I just point out that right now, this area is going to be changing. So we're going to have 388 Hudson Street very close by, residential. So maybe it could be the 11 and 12, 11 on the weekdays closed and 12 on the weekends.
I might add that, so we're primarily reservation based. Our last reservation is at 9 o'clock. More of this purpose is if a guest takes a very long time to eat, or if a guest shows up 30 minutes late, we want to be as hospitable as possible and not have to kick them out. So the goal of that 11:30 is not to push it as far as possible.
Then would you stipulate to that your last reservation is at 9 o'clock? Or I
We
mean,
might
I
put the
don't.
9:30.
9:30?
I would be fine.
I'm not, I'm just trying to figure out where we reach a compromise in here
Yeah,
without
I'd be happy to say 9:30.
9:30.
Be tied to
That's
that in
fine.
stipulation.
I want to go home early.
Just to try to address your concern, this is a bona fide restaurant. This is not a bar. There's 8 seats at the counter, and I know you've heard that before. I've heard that, but I think if you look at the menu and you look at Mr. McGarry's pedigree, you'll understand
Microphone.
this is a bona fide restaurant. Yeah.
That's not what it's about. It's about the people. If everyone's leaving at the same time,
It won't be.
we get complaints about noise on the street. No one is questioning anything about the kind of restaurant or the quality of the people who are running it.
Is that it? Is that right? Okay. Anybody? Fine.
Could you clarify for me? I see a dining room at the main entry, a private dining room off to the side, and something called a kitchen room. Could you explain what the kitchen room is?
Yes, so the delineation is that the kitchen room is sort of designated as this more, in-depth experience. That's going to be a set menu. There'll be 6 to 8 courses. And the idea of the kitchen room is it's intended to sort of, we do one seating in that room. You have the table for as long as you'd like, trying to sort of call back to a time where we're not saying you got to be out an hour and a half.
So it's like a prefix.
It's
sort of in
prefix in that room, and then the main room is à la carte.
Is the private dining room, thank you for that question. Is the private dining room just for private dining?
No,
Or-
it's private dining room, and then if we don't have an event, we can seat large tables there.
Okay. Go ahead, Dr. Smith.
Is it going to be reservation only?
No, we'll have space in the main dining room for walk-ins.
Okay, anybody else from the committee? I don't think I have anybody here from the public on this. Okay, I think we're good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, the next application is going to be Avenue Seventh or AV Seventh Avenue LLC, doing business as Al Antico, Vinaio, 89 Seventh Avenue South.
My name is Callum Dolsnitz. I represent AV 7th Ave LLC, doing business as Al Antico Vinaio. And with me is Roberta Neebe, who's the Director of Operations for Al Antico Vinaio for all of their New York locations. Al Antico Vinaio is a Florentine sandwich shop that currently operates at 4 locations in the city. We are applying for a tavern wine license to be able to serve wine by the glass, as well as beer by the glass to supplement any sandwiches that people might be buying. The hours of operations that are being sought are 8 a.m. to 12 a.m., 7 days a week. The idea is to be able to serve coffee and pastries in the morning, and to serve lunch and dinner throughout the day, and allow patrons to enjoy glasses of Italian wine with their sandwiches. It's not intended to be a bar, and to serve alcohol as a means of making money. The anticipation is that alcohol sales are going to represent a very small portion of revenue for the business, but it's in keeping with the method of operation for the other locations as well, to be able to serve wine. As far as the method of operation goes, no live music, light background music only, no security, and that's pretty much it. It's just going to be very light background music. We are seeking outdoor dining as well. The current plan is 15 two-tops, for a total of 30 seats. Indoors, there are counter space at the window, for people to enjoy a sandwich indoors. In terms of delivery and to-go orders, the restaurant is contracting with Uber Eats exclusively. When we did community outreach, we met with the 7th Ave South Alliance here, Miss Pausley. And one of the main concerns, one of the concerns, was that delivery drivers, can come up on the sidewalk. So the concern has been expressed to ownership, and they are adamant to come to an agreement with Uber Eats to make sure that delivery drivers are aware of that they can't be driving up on the sidewalks. Yeah, so that is it. Any questions? We're happy to answer and talk through any concerns that you may have.
All right, my first question is, where's the bathroom?
So the bathroom is in the basement of the building, and the access to the bathroom is actually around the building on Barrow Street, 16 Barrow Street. And so the current plan is to have adequate staff and have such that an employee can show a patron around to the entrance of the back, through which they enter and then go into the basement to access the bathroom with a key. And the reason that that is a necessity is just because the only other access to the bathroom that's in the basement would be through the kitchen, which is a health code violation.
Not on the same street.
Technically, the entrance is not on the same street. It's on the street behind on Barrow Street, but it is doing the walk. It is a generous estimation is about 30 seconds to get back there.
Okay, no, that's,
I have a question.
and then, so the seats inside are how many? I don't see the counter on the inside. So are there any seats on the inside? The
So-
questionnaire says there's no seats on the inside.
Yeah, so on the inside, there are like benches at the windows where individuals can stand and eat sandwiches. That's the plan.
Okay, and
Right now.
the windows open, is that correct?
They do open, yeah. And I might add that there's the Landmark Preservation Committee, a permit has been filed, sorry, an application has been filed. And my understanding is that it remains pending.
Okay, and so they open out? They open out.
Yes, I believe so. They do open now.
Okay, and so. All right. That may impact the seats you have next to the windows if they're opening out. I don't know how much room you have there, but
How much
they look like they're right next to the windows.
They don't open completely up. Yeah. Yeah, so they do open out, but of course, as an allowance for the outdoor seating, it would be windows could remain closed. It's just a feature of the windows that they do
Right.
open, and so just wanted to include that on the questionnaire.
Okay, and then for the seating outside, is there wait staff or is there not wait staff?
Wait staff coming outside to bring sandwiches to the patrons. Yeah, it's like a grab and go. Yeah, yeah.
So people will grab their glass of wine or their glass of beer and take it out, then how will that be returned to the inside? Is somebody clearing it? You need to use the microphone, please. That's
I'm
okay.
sorry.
That's
Yes,
okay.
sorry. Yes, we have a staff that clean up, like, that will clean up and take everything inside and like just clear the. Like
The
yeah,
tables.
yeah.
So basically they go inside, they get their order, they get their
Yeah.
glass of wine, they sit at their table, they leave, and you just have
Yes,
staff
okay.
coming out at a
Exactly,
regular
cleaning and
basis,
taking
cleaning
out.
it.
Yeah.
Okay, and all right, go ahead. I've got doctors. Yeah, I'll let them go first. Dr. Smith?
I do have a concern about your bathroom. I see that your occupancy is 33. But if they have to go outside, what's going to happen? And they have to have a key if you have 3 people wanting to go to the bathroom at the same time.
That's a completely valid concern. Yeah, so.
And on a cold day.
And on a cold day, that's right. Yeah. So it is the case that that the bathroom is not a large bathroom, but based on the operation, and Roberta can corroborate this, based on the way that that the restaurant operates, there are a lot of to-go orders, and while there's capacity inside for people to eat sandwiches, and of course that we're applying for 30 seats for outdoor capacity. It's not the case that people are coming here to drink a lot and there's going to be a line outside of the bathroom. And again, it's not to say that that's not a possibility, but it's just to say that we believe that based on the occupancy and the method of operation, that the bathroom should suffice. But your concerns are understood.
And
It's also not ADA
one
accessible.
quick question. Are you the principal?
I'm not. No, I'm the attorney representing the applicant.
The principal's not here.
So the principal, there are 3 principals, 2 are in Italy and 1 is in Arizona at the moment. So, and apologies for not addressing this earlier. Roberta is the director of operations who's standing in on their behalf.
Katie? So I just want to point out that in your application, you have the wrong cross streets. You've got this place in Chelsea, not in the village. The cross streets are Grove and Barrow, and it says 15th and 16th on my application.
That noted too.
And I don't see, I have a few questions about the sidewalk cafe. I don't see the dimensions. I don't see how wide it is. And I don't see the fire escape clearance. Thank you, Miss Paisley. I noticed in the previous note from you, maybe about that. And so I think we need to know about how wide everything is. And you say that they're going into this basement of the residential building, because it's a residential building at 16 Barrow. How are you separated from the residential areas or the areas that are the residents have access to in that basement?
So my understanding is that the residents don't access, they don't, the bathroom is for the use of the commercial space in the building, not the residential space in the building. And so the access to the basement area and to that bathroom is subject to the lease, the commercial lease of the premise. But it is true that patrons would have to access the bathroom via a corridor that is shared with the residential building.
Ooh, well, we got a lot more clarity now.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah. Cormac?
Yeah, first of all, do you have a diagram that shows the bathroom and the access to the bathroom, how somebody gets there? Because I didn't see one in the packet.
I don't have a diagram.
Okay.
What I did print out were a few photos showing the residential lobby, the hallway leading to the door that allows for
great.
access. To
I still have some other questions. Why don't you give that to Katie and we can pass it down this way? Thank you.
And I did.
That was not in the packet, right?
No, I wanted to keep the packet as was from November, just to avoid any confusion, but I brought these to supplement.
Okay, thanks. You have a bunch of them. Start them down that way and they'll make their way down here. So, yeah, it's the same thing, but he's got 3 copies, so we could go faster. Okay. So about the bathroom, walk me through this. I'm somebody, I'm getting myself a sandwich, I'm going outside, I'm sitting down with it. How do I know you have a bathroom?
Valid question. I think that just based on my experience, you would say, is there a bathroom that I can access? And then one of the employees would say, yes, there is a bathroom. Unfortunately, you have to access it through the back of the building. I have a key and I can show you the way to do it. And the principal has also mentioned that, or one of the principals has mentioned that understanding that the bathroom issue is a bit difficult, that they would make sure that there's adequate staff to be able to allow for the shepherding of
Right, well, if
patrons.
basically you have a hall monitor who's gonna walk there, and it's presumably not somebody who's handling food, right? Since they're walking around the street, opening the door, is going in.
So, sorry. So, yeah, we usually have like a full staff. Sorry, yeah, sorry. We usually have a full staff, like 4 or 5 people, and the place is very small. So we're not gonna have like 5 people like making sandwiches. Usually it's like a cashier, a person like cleaning the tables, and that is gonna be for sure the person that takes the person to the bathroom, like chaperone the person to the bathroom. And like based on my experience, for like people ask like where the bathroom is, like I'm the director of operation of New York, and I work in all the shops. So people, when they need the bathroom, they ask like, where's the bathroom? And so we would take them, like the person at the register or cleaning up the area would take them definitely to the entrance in the bathroom down in the basement.
So maybe a sign saying bathrooms for patrons only or something like that, so that people at least know there is one?
Yeah. We can definitely do that. Yeah,
And
definitely.
let me ask you about the patrons only issue in this way. So you're very busy, it's height of the season, you got 30 seats, you got people doing it, you got other people taking outgoing orders.
Mhm.
And you're still gonna have enough staff to walk people in the bathrooms and eat it, you're telling me, right? Even though they're crunch time and it's big. And the various tourists in the village who are gonna wander in and ask where the bathroom is, or if they can use a bathroom, how are you gonna tell who's a patron, who isn't? How are you gonna deal with that?
So, I mean, like for us, like in general, like the customer experience is very important. That's why like we always have like a very full staff, like on Saturday, Sunday, like the shop is really small. So we usually have like even 9 people. So we're gonna make sure that usually we have a person at the coffee machine and the cashier that is gonna be able to do that. Like for sure. Like we have sometimes like 2 people, like, not like just going around because they're workers, but we usually have like people like taking care of customers, even if it's a sitting area. It's like it's very important, like it's an Italian place. It's like we really like want the customer experience like be, so definitely the person that is gonna be at the register, like in the area, like cleaning like the seatings or like cleaning up, is gonna be the person in charge of like saying that to the customers.
And I have some questions about Sidewalk Cafe, but I want to check with the chair and make sure that I'm not, okay, somebody else needs to go. So first thing is, you said that the windows open out, your diagram shows them opening in.
And show them opening at all, really, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, don't believe it shows them opening in.
Yeah.
Hold on.
That's the door.
And this is the door. These are windows, and these are windows folded open, accordion windows folded open to the side, see? On the side. Yeah, you're the architect, you see that, right? Yeah, it's not a door in that elevator, yeah. So, I mean, so they do show them opening in, but putting that aside, I just want to talk for a moment about the Sidewalk Cafe. So you're showing just under 10 feet of depth to the cafe, 9 feet 7 inches, right? And then it's 10 feet 5 inches, right? Beyond that to the curb.
Mhm.
But most of that pedestrian area, right, is the grates, the subway grates. Right, you only have you don't have like 3 feet, 2.5-ish inches or something like that are not that. Am I understanding that right?
Yeah, so the way that I understood the layout of the Sidewalk Cafe with respect to the new rules is that you're still, regardless of the fact that you've got the subway grate there, you're measuring to the curb and then creating an allowance from the edge of the sidewalk, the perimeter, or sorry, the edge of the sidewalk grate closest to the restaurant, there's a particular distance that has to be created. That yes,
Yes.
thank you. But my understanding is that there's still the correct allowance
Subway grades can be part of the clear path.
Exactly.
But you need to keep the foot,
But you
6
need to,
inches, 1.5 feet.
Right, and in this
Um,
case, you've kept 3 feet, right? It looks like.
yeah, I
No,
wish the
I won't
font was
either.
bigger on this, but I believe that that's true.
Okay, everybody, look, I've pinched it bigger on my tablet, right? The seating is marked as 9 feet 7 inches depth, right?
Yeah.
And then from the edge of the seating to the curb is marked 10 feet 5 inches. And then the space from the building line to those grates, or to just off the grates, right, is marked 13 feet. So
13 feet from the edge of the premises to the subway grate, but allowing for
Oh.
that distance that
Right.
Mr. McCarthy.
Okay, so let me just also then be clear too, so, but there will be. Because I know I looked at your drawings and things, you intend to enclose. Right, these seats? Do you? 'Cause
Yes,
the
that's
s-
correct.
The sketch is only showing enclosures on two
No,
sides.
I
But
understand.
you intend to have them on three sides.
That's right, that's right.
And you're not gonna have lines or sandwich boards or wait stations outside your enclosure.
No, no, that's absolutely.
You know,
correct.
it's
It's going to be-
blocking the non-graded area. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. The plan is to have and I believe that this is the case at some of the other locations, the barriers with the Alentico Vinaio logo on the side enclosing the entire sidewalk cafe.
But I think your illustration showed that. It just wasn't on these plans.
I know.
just wanted
No,
to-
I
All right.
understand. Yeah.
Thank you.
And then I'll go to you. Katie, let Brian go, if that's okay, and then I'll go to you.
Okay, so my understanding as far as the availability of a restroom for the patrons is that it needs to be on the premises, your establishment.
No, that's not the case. You need reasonable access to a bathroom for your patrons.
Reasonable access. Okay, so I think my other
Doesn't
point,
seem to be reasonable.
right, it's
Yeah,
besides the, excuse me, besides the distance that you pointed out, there are a number of steps to get into that Barrow Street entrance. So it seems to me you would need to, it seems to me the law is that you need to provide an ADA accessible bathroom.
The requirement for the bathroom does not come from the city for this establishment. The requirement from the bathroom, because there are no interior seats, comes from the liquor authority from having a liquor license. So it's a little bit different because you require to have 20 interior seats before the city requires a bathroom. So it's an anomaly in the regulations. And the liquor authority will require a written explanation from them. What he said is reasonable, but I think your point is it's not reasonable. And the reasons are it's not ADA. It's outside and around, right? And so even though it's not, to your point, these are still reasonable, but the argument that we're making is to the liquor authority on that, not to the city, which is probably where your experience is with the city.
Well, beyond
Or-
that point, I'm simply cautioning you that if you did not provide an ADA accessible bathroom to a public accommodation, a person could come in and sue you for lack of accessibility. And I don't think you would have a leg to stand on because this is a new business. It's not like the old bathroom, like so many stores in the city. It's an existing business and they just transfer it over to maybe a new tenant and they get rolled over. And I just have to wonder. That's my question, and you might want to double check so
Yeah.
you don't run into that later.
And the concerns are understood and also appreciated. And one thing that we spoke to the principals about was seeing if a neighboring business that had an ADA bathroom would also allow access for patrons who.
But that's not your,
No, of course, no, and that's understood, but just as a way to kind of supplement access for those who are not going to be able to access the bathroom that is around the back. And again, this is just something that is trying to be done in good faith to help out anyone who might be in a situation where they would want access to it. But with all that being said, the understanding is that we're providing, in our view, reasonable access to a bathroom. And of course, that's up for debate as to how reasonable it is, but we're providing reasonable access to a bathroom for patrons, and based on the occupancy, it's not absurd, and the method of operation.
okay, Katie?
Okay, thank you for these pictures. So I want to figure this out. You bring the person around to this, to 16 Barrow. The employee leads them down the steps and opens the door with a key. And then does the employee lead them through the basement to the bathroom, or the person just go into the bathroom and then come out on his or her own?
Well. Okay, sorry. Yeah, so no, we're gonna have like an employee. Also, we have the so we're gonna have an employee like stay and like wait, because since it's a residential building, of course, we're not gonna have like, like leaving the person there, and we're gonna be locking the door again.
Okay, so then, on page 2 of the photographic, handout, I see the mailboxes, and beside that, I see an unlocked door. Is that a door for the residents to go down to the basement?
That's the door that brings to the
So the
basement.
residents can go down that door, it's unlocked, and the people in the basement up into the residential hall as well. Yeah.
It's not separate. The residents go down.
Yeah,
Yes,
they're-
Katie, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not
no,
separate.
yeah. Thank you. I have walked on this block so many times in the last 45 years, and walking on that grate is quite challenging. So there's not a lot of space for people to come with a baby stroller or a walker or a grocery cart. So I'm just telling you, this is challenging. You
Email
said it.
city council. Okay, I'm gonna go because we have people here from the public on this, so I'm gonna go on it, and then so I have Nancy Paisley, Leslie Clark.
Thank you, Donna. I'm not sure what to say here. Leslie asked me, am I for or against? And my answer is yes and no. These are very fine people. They serve very good food. It's a bright space on a desolate block that desperately needs something like this. We met with them in October, November, when they were first making this proposal. And we had a couple of issues. One was we would have liked earlier hours, particularly outside. The Sullivan Street, the establishment on Sullivan Street closes at 11 every night, or they're posted, and they have nothing outside. We also would like to have fewer tables outside because of the bleeping grate. But when we got to the bathroom, and the plans were very difficult to follow, but when it was explained to me that the plan at that time was to go out through the food prep area and down the steps to the basement, to the bathroom, and we said, can't do that. So the meeting broke up, and we never got to any further discussion on the outside or the hours. And we had asked, when this was resubmitted, if we could meet again to go over open issues, but that was not possible to be arranged. And the attorney told us, well, there's been no change. I'm now hearing for the very first time that to get to the patron bathroom, you go out the door, around the block, into the residential hallway of 16 Barrow, and I don't hear anything from the tenants of 16 Barrow as to whether they think this is a good idea. Down the stairs and thread your way through a basement that is also used for, this is a blown up diagram, used for storage and other purposes for the building. And regardless of the steps in the front of the building, if you have to go down the staircase into the basement, that ain't going to be ADA compliant. I'd like to see these people stay here, but they're not going to like my suggestion, which is to have fewer seats. They do have seating inside, by the way. When I've been in to buy sandwiches, they've had the counters and stools to sit at the counter. Now
Is it at this location?
at this, yes,
Is it
ma'am.
open there?
Yes, ma'am. They've been open for a month or two now. They've had seating inside. My suggestion would be no beer and wine, alas, and fewer than 20 seats, and then you're good to go. I love the sandwiches. I recommend the food highly, but I don't know how you can get there from
Right.
here.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. This is my.
Hi, I'm Leslie Clark with West Village Residents. I agree with everything that Nancy has said. I also was involved in the early conversations last autumn with the applicant. And thank you. Thank you, Carmen. And this arrangement is, for the bathroom is, I have to say candidly, is bizarre. I walked by this location on my way here tonight just to get a look at it again. In order to get around to Barrow Street, you walk a considerable distance down 7th Avenue before you make a dog leg back onto Barrow Street. So this is when hell, so the waiters, the wait staff is going to go down there and come back, wait with them, then come back while they do the bathroom break. The other thing I just wanted to add, I mean, I agree with everything that Nancy said. Certainly West Village residents could not support liquor license under these circumstances, with this intrusion into this long journey to intrude into a residential building, mixing with people in the big. But we've also recently been, West Village residents and other groups have been working with people on Barrow Street about problems they have with other restaurants on Barrow Street. So in effect, what's happening is you're making Barrow Street part of the restaurant. People are walking around, they're chatting, they're coming back down, then they wait around, they chat and they come back, whatever. And that is exactly the problem that we have been dealing with other residents on Barrow Street about the Spaniard, which is a huge problem in the area, and Barrow Street Ale House, which is another one right there. So this is basically extending the footprint of this restaurant, not only on a journey, but into an area that is already having severe problems to the degree that the city council member has been involved in the problems on Barrow Street. I just have to say that this is, to me, is not, I agree that they should not have a liquor license, that they should reduce the number of seats. And I'm also a little amazed that that they don't need to have wait staff if they're serving alcohol. And that would be okay if you're not serving alcohol, but anyway, those are my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have a question for Leslie, or you have, okay, come on back up.
So first, I want to address the issue about indoor seats. And I apologize because there was an honest miscommunication between myself and the principal. The restaurant, the plan was at the time that we submitted the application back in the fall that it would just be bench seating, but no, just counters, but no stools. The restaurant has been open for the past 20 days, and since then there have been stools in there. So I apologize. That was not an effort to deceive. That was just a mistake.
How many seats are inside, just so I can make a note of it? About 8, 16? Okay. Does that sound right to you?
It's about 15 maybe.
And then just to address the concerns that were brought up, we understand again that the bathroom is inconvenient. Access to the bathroom is inconvenient. In terms of a long walk to get there, I think that's a matter of. Okay.
It actually doesn't matter if it's a long
Okay.
walk or a short walk. I think
Sure,
that
sure.
the whole thing.
But just one last thing, and I'll make it really
Yeah.
brief, is that when we met before, one of the issues that was raised was shady activity and crime on Barrow Street and really actually on 7th Ave in front there. And the presence of an establishment like this that's respected and run by professionals was something that was welcomed beyond the quality of the food, but also by the presence that it would bring. And so I just want to say as a counterpoint to the issue that it's going to be an extension of a bar or restaurant on the back there. I think that just generally the presence of this establishment will be a net.
I don't think, actually, that's not how I heard what they were saying. How I heard what they were saying was it's just an extension of people going on to Barrow Street with having to access a bathroom in the evenings when it's already a mess. Yes, Cormac.
Sorry, I just want to ask this question. What kind of outreach have you done to the residents of 16 Barrow about this plan to go through the residential space?
We contacted the email list for CB2, but we didn't knock on doors.
Right, so like block association type people, but you didn't do.
That's correct.
Right, so I mean, yeah, I don't want to belabor this with comment, but typically residential space, there's a public safety issue, and so that's.
So then the last thing I just want to review. So the hours, are you looking at any earlier hours than what you're proposing? Any less seats on the sidewalk than what you're proposing based on any of these comments or?
Yeah, in terms of the outdoor seating, we want to be able to, because of the method of operation and the type of food and the kind of the fast casual nature of the business, we want to be able to provide that outdoor seating within the confines of what's allowed by the outdoor dining program. But with the hours of operations, it's understood that asking for midnight 7 days a week might be a lot. That's still what would be preferred. But if it came to being less days of the week as midnight closing, that's
or 10 and 11.
I have been told by the principal that what they'd be flexible with would be a closing on Sunday through Wednesday of 10 p.m. And then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 11:30 p.m.
Okay. That is the outdoor, right? I mean, I'm assuming since
Effectively.
most of your seats are on the outside, that's what you're talking about. So in the wintertime, you won't have seats on the outside.
No,
It's
from
seasonal.
yeah,
seating because,
from December through March. That's correct.
and outdoor structures will be enclosed on 3 sides or more. You can't do that either. There's no enclosure on 3 sides. I mean, when you say enclosure, you just mean the short enclosure around it. You don't mean an enclosure.
Correct.
Okay, just a barrier, just the two and a half foot barrier. Okay. Okay, I think, but
can we approve something where there's such a mix?
we can discuss that in business.
Okay, that's fine. But usually we prefer Thursday to be considered a weekday because people have to go to school and work. So Friday and Saturday is one thing, but the Sunday through Thursday is something we prefer to match. So can we have the same hours, Sunday through Thursday, please?
So I can understand it. I understand where you're coming from. In terms of what the principals.
Well, they're not
After-
here and they don't.
No, understood, but just in my.
No, it's not.
Okay. That's what he's saying, so.
Right, so it looks like you're asking, I mean, you're gonna be asking the liquor authority to waive a couple of rules. You're gonna ask them to waive the 2 restroom requirement.
Yeah.
You're gonna have a public restroom that's located in the residential portion of an adjacent building.
Correct.
You have to go along 2 storefronts away to get to it.
Yeah.
And you're a fast casual business, you have 45 seats. Inside, outside, roughly, right? Is it?
Yeah,
Maybe a little higher than that. These are the kinds of places that, providing any kind of benefit in a community, have a restroom that's easily available. And in New York City, and certainly in our area, which is a highly visited area, that's a norm of what people expect.
Yeah, and I understand that, and I do
And-
think that the owners understand and appreciate that
And,
as well.
and to Brian's point, it's not accessible. You know, I'm, you know, I mean, I just find it hard for us, just being very upfront with you, to ask, to waive all of these issues or to not comment on them or have them weigh in on our decision making. I just say that I'm not sure there's much more to discuss or answer on that, but I just wanted to make sure. So you're asking for two waivers. One is the proximity, and then also is the two restroom. And are you guys the only ones who have access to this bathroom?
That's so in terms of a commercial, like a business within the building, I believe the answer is yes. But in terms of the access is not restricted to the business, no.
So the public can use the bath, the.
Yeah,
the
I mean,
residents
Of the building.
But
It-
they can access the area.
Downstairs, yeah.
So it's your bathroom. I mean, you're the only ones with access to the bathroom.
But residents are able to go down to the space where the bathroom
Right,
is.
got it. Okay, all right. I think it's unfortunate. I mean, it's gonna be an issue, I think, so, okay.
All right, thank
Thank
you for
you.
your time.
Okay, the next application, 28 7th Avenue South Hospitality at 28 7th Avenue South, on premise for a restaurant.
Good evening. The sidewalks here. Guys, want to introduce yourselves, please? They know who I am.
Chris Rita. I'm Joel Tahowie.
You want to talk a little bit about it or?
You just saw it.
This is an existing restaurant that we're replacing. Be happy to answer any questions you have. I think you guys know Chris fairly well.
Hi.
Are you gonna tell me anything, or do I have to, I'll just start asking
So the
everything?
Mediterranean restaurant, replacing an existing restaurant. I feel like I'm too close to this thing. Let's go to. Mediterranean restaurant replacing an existing, French restaurant. There are, was it 4 tables and 8 seats outside? It's 4 tables and 8 seats on the sidewalk. The current operation is there, has been there, it's been licensed for years, the location, over and over again. If you have any questions, as you know, Chris is quite well versed. Go down.
Yes. I'll take it easy on you. So the hours that I have, are Sunday to Wednesday, no, wait, hang on. I have, wait, hang on a second, hang on a second.
I can do it if you like.
Okay,
Don.
no, I got the right one in front of me now. So Sunday to Wednesday, 11 to 12, and Thursday to Saturday, 11 to 3 AM. Background music, is there live music? And so no, is there live music and DJs, or that's been taken off of here? At some point there was, but I think there's an amended.
No, there's no live music and no DJs. correct?
Okay. And then
Gotta be engaged.
there's the seating, there's some tables, there's a bar. And then upstairs in the mezzanine, it looks like it's all kind of couchy tables and low tables. That's what it appears to be. So I'm asking if that's what that is. Yes. Okay, so now my next question is going to be, how are people eating their Mediterranean dinner? on the couchy little loungy chairs.
What we're doing, you want to answer this? You want me to answer?
Or somebody then, you know, I mean, because you've
doing-
given me so much information, what I have in front of me is a Mediterranean restaurant. So I think that my question.
We're using the mezzanine area as our holding area. That's where people are going to be sitting while waiting for tables. We don't want people going out into the street and loitering, and so it's easier to put them upstairs in a loungy type atmosphere.
Well, can I just say one thing? All of you are welcome to speak, but whoever's speaking needs to be at the microphone.
No.
No,
I was just saying, like, those ceilings are really low.
and you need to speak up to the microphone.
The ceilings are really low, like where the mezzanine is.
Right.
And right under it. So in that area, we just wanted lower seating just so people aren't, you know, so close to the ceiling.
So, okay, so I think there are, according to my calculations, approximately 36 seats, including the bar on the ground floor.
Yes.
So that would leave 46, about 22 seats by my count, I think I had upstairs. Okay,
You got 6 bars. I bet. Hello.
If I use this one.
Yeah. No, it is working. But anyway, I'm sorry. It's 9 tables, 31 seats with 6 bar stools on the first floor.
okay, that's about what I came up with. It's
Mezzanine is lighting in here. 4 tables and 16 seats.
okay. That's 22 seats we want to do. Did the diagram change?
No,
Did one,
I'm looking at the
2, 3, 4, 5,
printed.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22.
I'm looking at the printed where it says 4 tables, 16 seats.
Yeah, I'm looking at that too, but I'm counting the seats instead of looking at what's written.
Okay. Does that look, Joe, check that out?
Yeah.
Sounds like I can.
Yeah, 22.
Okay, thanks. All right, so. So I guess why don't we discuss the 3 AM?
Already?
Well, I'm just,
Jeez, Doc, why don't you drink first?
I'm trying to get through to what I see as what the issues are. So I'd say that the 3 AM is an issue for a restaurant. And I think that the lounge area is potentially an issue for a restaurant. And do we have a place of assembly for here?
Yes, well, we don't, but the current
There is
premises
one.
does, yes.
Okay. Okay, so why don't we address,
I mean, the hours, it's Chris, I mean, Donna. He'll certainly be agreeable to working.
11 and 12?
No, not that agreeable. You were too anxious. If you had slowed a little bit, I might have fallen for it.
You want to explain the concept?
Yeah, I think we
Go for
need
it.
some explanation of this because restaurants, you know, are 11 and 12. This is and this is a very busy area with a lot of issues with other places. So I think it would be good to actually understand the concept here.
Sure. Well, we're a Mediterranean restaurant. Well, oh, sorry. Yeah, we're a Mediterranean restaurant. We want to be small, large plate shareable, emphasis on communal dining. The reason for our late hours is there just frankly aren't a ton of places open late for a good meal. I mean, obviously there's late night pizza, but there are very few places that are serving something of quality. Like the few that I can think of is like Blue Ribbon, for example. You know, but we want to offer something sophisticated, something better than just standard bar food. And we think that's missing a lot from the area.
How come none of the other restaurants that are able to offer food in those hours are not serving it?
honestly. I don't know. I don't know why they aren't. It's like, I'm on Bleecker Street already with Little Charlie, and I see the people walking by all the time to look for something to eat at midnight, 1 o'clock, and I don't know why the restaurants aren't open. You know, like, oh, we get
Bars, because
What?
most people are drinking at those hours and not eating there.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, realistically, because
what we're looking for is we're looking for more of a communal type of eating with people. The less seating in places, what happened during COVID was a lot of the last seating started at 8, 9, and 9:30, and then they stopped. Now people uptown are starting to eat late. Like, I was at a restaurant the other night till 2 in the morning. They're eating late. So, but they're all eating late uptown. Downtown has no scene of anybody eating late anymore. They just don't. And I feel like that's where it started.
And then the rest also used to operate.
You really need to use the
Sorry.
microphone. I'm sorry, I didn't mean the tone, but
Our landlord also used to operate Moss Farmhouse, which was a 4 a.m. licensed place, and they had two stars with New York Times. So, and they had a good run. They were there for 14 years. I think they had to close for a fire, but
So we know.
and the upstairs being the lounge.
No, well, I know what you're saying. I'm not gonna lie to anybody. I'm not trying to do a lounge upstairs and like do a nightlife thing, because that's kind of what I do. But
It's
now I'm
definitely what
getting
you
more
do.
into restaurants.
I mean, I'm just saying,
No, I'm not trying to cover it up.
just for anybody here, I live in a neighborhood where he has a place. We have a very long history together, in case anybody's
Yeah.
kind of wondering how we.
No, it's always been pleasant. I always
Gets the
talk
phone calls at 12 o'clock at night.
But, I feel that area especially, a late night dining thing could happen. We want to do something where everybody shares all their plates. Somebody sits down, they sit, they hang out, they don't have to feel rushed. Nobody goes out.
This seems.
What I'm saying, to bars, to stay at bars late anymore. They don't. A lot of
Yes,
bars
they
do well, but our older crowd, they don't really do it. They want to go eat. They want to go eat late. They want to have a couple of drinks. They want to have an appetizer. They want to go home by 2:30, 3 o'clock. That's what it is.
Cormac.
Yeah, I just couldn't help but be struck with the people eating out late uptown.
Yeah.
And that's a good place for people who want to eat late. One of the things that we always look at when we consider license is we looking at the context of the location. And at just 3 a.m. seems pretty aggressive. I understand that might be a location for something a little bit later than the restaurant hours, done the same before, but 3 a.m. seems pretty bad. But if it's a good idea done, I think Bob has some questions.
Yeah, I have this as a transfer, and the license before was 12 and 1. So this one should be 12 and 1, should it not? Unless you're changing the method of operation as well.
Restaurants going out of business currently, and we think largely because of those hours.
Right, but don't you also have to make an application to change the method of operation?
Not for a new application.
Yeah,
This is a new application, not
it's
a
a transfer.
It's a transfer.
So you want a immediate license, that you want the license that was there transferred to the new business.
Correct.
And the license that was there before was 12 and 1.
And we're applying for an application for late. Do you think that every transfer is bound by the prior operator's hours?
Well, Frank, I would say that a transfer is a transfer of a method of operation that currently exists.
No, it isn't. A French restaurant can't transfer to an Italian restaurant, have a different method of operation?
Method of operation in terms of the service of food, but certainly in terms of the hours of operation.
I'm sorry, Bob, if this community board approves 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock for a place.
I didn't say that. I said 12 and 1 because that.
No, I'm giving you just a free example, not this place. I'm saying this community board approves 10 and 11 for any place, and a new operator comes in and buys it. Are you saying he can't apply for 12 and 1?
It's a transfer.
It doesn't mean it stays the same.
Okay, then that's fine, Frank. That's your answer. That's okay.
You know I'm right. Okay. I think you know I'm right, Carter.
I think until they get the license that it operates under The old, I'm not sure about. I think that's what it is. Until you get your license, you're. I read it 100 times. but
Always
we'll see.
respectfully down.
Yeah, I know. Okay. Katie?
Well, the 3 a.m. is just too much to swallow. And I lived for many years looking right down on that space because I lived on Bedford Street. My windows looked over there. And the noise from, what was it called? The Milk Bar, which I also was overlooking, was so disruptive. You can't believe it. So this 3 a.m. closing is very difficult for the neighbors. And I don't see a lot of signatures from the people who lived in my building. I don't see their signatures on that, on your petition. So you haven't gotten to the people who are really going to be affected. I also wonder how the northernmost sidewalk tables seem to go beyond your property line. So I'd like you to, think about that. And I'd like to hear about this private party business plan. What is the private party? What do you think? Are you going to do parties? Yes or no?
Yes.
And what is your idea about them? What are you offering? Is it a full buyout? Is it every week? How often?
It depends on what exactly it's for. It could be a full buyout. It could be upstairs. It could be downstairs. It could be a table. So when you say a private event, close down the whole place. Yes, we're definitely going to do that.
How often?
I don't know. I hope as often as
12 times
possible.
a year, 24 times a year.
It's not like a number that I could give that would be guaranteed to.
Limit it to 24 times a year, 12 times a year.
Well, wait,
Oh, I'm sorry. Not to be argumentative, you're not in favor of private buyouts? Because you should be.
We want to know what the idea is, and when we talk to people, we ask them how many times a year they want it, and they'd say once a month or twice a month, and then we write in 12 or 24 times, just so that we can know.
I'm not arguing, but most
I'm not
people,
arguing either.
most people are in favor of buyouts because it limits the traffic.
We just want to know how, well, you know what, the other thing is when you have a buyout, everybody leaves at once and it has more noise, so we want to know how many times. Yeah.
So I couldn't tell you how many times it's gonna happen in 1 year. Approximation, it's gonna be anywhere from 20 to 35 times a year that we would have a private buyout of the room, meaning that's what,
Talk about closing the place down.
it's good, closing the place
Two,
down,
3 times a month.
2-3 times a month.
Are you done, Katie? Okay. I think what I'm going to do, I've got people here from the public. I'll go to the public. So is this one?
Oh.
Right? Yeah.
Hundred and 550.
Okay. Okay, so I have Leslie Clark, right? We're all here for this? Okay, so did you fill out the speaker cards? You can come up and speak. Did you fill out speaker cards? Okay. Greg Jackson, that's you. Okay. Is anybody else speaking? Okay. If you want, you can fill out a card and speak. Okay, go ahead.
I'm Greg Jackson. I was president of the Morton Street Block Association for 7 years, and I'm still on the board. And I'm here with Arisa Tillum and Mary Phillips, who are the president and vice president of the Block Association.
Can you just repeat which block? I'm sorry.
On Morton Street,
Thank
Morton Street Block Association.
Who else is here?
Yeah. And we've been speaking with Mariana Reisman, who is also co-chair of the St. Luke's Place Block Association. And we've canvassed the neighborhood for all the other restaurants and bars, and their closing time is usually 11 o'clock during the weekdays and then midnight on the weekends. And you can walk by and you won't see anybody in there after those times. And the only places open later are two sports bars who are on the other side of the avenue down on Bedford. And they stay open till 2. But, you know, they're sports bars. And the live parties, I don't know what's going to go on. I assume that's going to be soft music, background music, because Risa and I met with Chris and Joe about a month ago to discuss what they were going to be doing with their restaurant. And they said that there would be only soft music, that there would be no live music at all. And for the party situation, they just said that they might be renting it out for some parties, but they didn't say it was definite. And I don't know if that's going to be soft music or not. And I live on the back of my building, and my windows are right at their back door of their building, and not even 10 feet away. So there was a Russian place, an owner back 20 years ago that used to have live music, and it shook all the windows in my building. The thumping of the bass drum and the guitar chords. We don't want to see that happen again. But to be open till 3 a.m., that's crazy. We really don't want that at all for our neighborhood.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, Joe Berger, do you want?
I hadn't initially planned to speak, but after listening to the applicants, I just feel I must. Let me introduce myself. I'm an attorney. I've been an attorney 55 years. And for 32 years, I have lived at 32 Morton Street in an apartment with windows that face 7th Avenue South. The west side of 7th Avenue South, where this establishment proposes to be. I have written and has several of my neighbors in 32 Morton have all written to you about this, and we're pretty much up in arms about it. The thing I want to add, I believe one of you mentioned Moss Farmhouse, which was a 2-star restaurant over on it was on Downing. The chef of that restaurant and his partner took over 28 7th Avenue South also and ran another restaurant there, an excellent restaurant. It specialized in grilled food. I was there several times. It was never open past 12. It was never even open past 11.
What was that one called? Was that called Mark?
I can't remember the name of it. Do you remember it by any chance? It was also called Moss?
It was
called
also
Moss
called
Grill or something like that. It had the name Moss in it also. It didn't have private parties. It didn't stay open until 1, 2, or 3 a.m. And also, the upstairs was not a lounge. It was part of the seating area. It was part of the dining area. People didn't congregate there in a lounge. It was totally different from what these folks are proposing. Now, in between, there was after they shut that down, in between, there was some kind of establishment that's been there for a few years, and I don't think it's even exists anymore. It didn't seem to be open most of the time. I'm not quite sure what it was, but in any event, it certainly didn't cause any noise problems or a congregation on the sidewalk in the area. It was either non-existent or only partially existent. And I think back to the restaurant, the Moss, the other version of Moss, because the co-owner, along with the celebrity chef, was an attorney from Proskauer, who I happen to have been friends with, and they were very, very sensitive even then about the neighborhood. They were very concerned about their hours. And in fact, there was some concerns because it was grilled food of some of the smoke. And they were, I've never seen a restaurant going to be more concerned and more conscientious in responding to people. And you're just the opposite of the kind of confrontational discussion you just heard now. I mean, I was concerned even before coming here, but I felt my letters were sufficient. After listening to these three folks, I am more concerned than ever before that they are aggressively wishing to promote a very noisy establishment and one that would be of very great harm to all of us who live, in the area. I understand that both the Morton Street Block Association and the St. Luke's Block Association are opposed. And frankly, after listening tonight, I would not feel comfortable with these guys even having a restaurant with, an 11-12, because I wouldn't trust them. I think that they really intend to do something very, very different from anything that's been there before. And that to me is extremely disconcerting. If you have any other questions, thank you.
Okay. Leslie Clark, Nancy?
Could you remind me, what are the outdoor hours on this application? Those are not to 3 AM, are they?
They can't be.
They can't, but they could be 12.
12 a.m.
What?
12 a.m. They're asking for 12 a.m.
So 3 AM for the restaurant and outdoors 7 nights a week until midnight. I'm afraid that from what we've heard here from the near neighbors, West Village residents could not possibly support this application at these hours. This is a significant intrusion onto the sidewalk where I don't believe there has ever been one before. Is that correct? Yes. So you have a significant intrusion to the sidewalk every night and 3 AM. No, we would actually ask you to deny this application with these terms. But the original terms, 12 and 1, that were the transfer, that's a different matter. But earlier hours on the sidewalk, 10 PM. Thank you.
Thank you. Nancy Paisley, do you, yeah. Excuse.
Yeah, I live fairly nearby, and I would just say I agree completely with Leslie. These hours are too late outside, and too large an establishment outside, and much too late inside. This is just not suitable for our neighborhood, and the private party thing gives me a bad feeling that it's going to be more club-like, although that's not what they said. So I would oppose this application. Thank you.
Thank you.
Lisa Tillum.
Yeah, just come up to the microphone so that, yeah.
Oops, sorry. Lisa Tillum, and I just wanted to add something that Greg had mentioned. When we met with these fellows, when we met with these fellows, they told us that they did want to have private parties, and during those times, they would probably have live music. So they're being very shady, I think, about what they're really planning to do.
Okay. Good.
And we really cannot have them open until anywhere near something after 12 o'clock, maybe.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I just, have you filled out a speaker form?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Just want to remind everybody to do that. All right, thanks.
Okay. I think that's it from the public, anyway. Okay. You want to come back up? Okay.
To clarify on the top, that mezzanine area, we will do a full service there, dining, everything. Like we plan on having banquet seating slightly lower, just given that the ceilings are low and just thought it'd be better just atmospherically.
The table height is gonna be regular table height for people to eat. We were just treating upstairs as more of a banquet seating.
Yeah.
Downstairs are, sorry, regular tables.
Okay, go ahead.
So it isn't just like you're holding space for people waiting for tables?
No.
Okay.
But that's what you just said you were
No,
doing.
That's not what I said. That's what.
Wait, I just want to say one
That's-
thing. We're not going
that's
to
not
go
what I
back and
said.
forth here, please.
That's not what I said, because when I walked back there, I tried to. understand.
Oh, yeah, really, please, so the wait staff is going to go up the stairs to serve the meals upstairs.
Yeah, there's actually a station, so we have
Well, there's a service station,
Yeah,
but there's
service
no,
station.
the meals are not going to, I mean, the meals aren't coming out of the service station.
No,
The meals are coming from the kitchen, which is
downstairs.
in the basement.
Yeah.
So they're gonna go up the 2 floors, okay? Okay,
We'll also limit the private parties to 24 year. We'll also close the outside at 10 o'clock.
okay. I don't think, I mean, we didn't even discuss
No, I volunteer.
no, but I mean, also didn't discuss the number of seats or anything like that out there. I don't know that the seating that you have is gonna work. I'm just telling you that. I mean, the chairs are going past your premises on the one side and on the
I brought that
north
to you.
side.
Yes, so
And
it's actually, it's actually 2830 7th Avenue South. The landlord also has the
you know
shed.
what? The rules are in front of your premises. If you're not renting that space, that's not your space.
We are,
You
the
rent-
lease would say 2830 7th Avenue.
Where is your store frontage?
It's 2830. That's what.
Your
the
store goes to
2830.
30
Yes.
past this front of this? I'm
Yes.
sorry.
The
I'm absolutely sorry, but I've looked at these. The
front of you?
If you draw a line in front of your space,
Yes.
like it looks right here,
Mhm.
this is the front of your space and this is the front of your space. Your space doesn't go further where the brick wall is with the nice ivy.
There's a shed. That's
Let's
our
say-
shed.
Your premises frontage. Your seating doesn't go over there. Your seating, your interior restaurant does not go over there.
There's one.
The- I don't care where the shed is, it's where your restaurant is. It's your storefront
There's a
frontage.
shed right here.
No, I understand that.
It's your, look at the outdoor dining rules. It's your storefront frontage,
So you cut off one table.
at least one table. And. Yeah, go ahead.
I also just want to, the same point I made to the applicants
Mhm.
before, which
Two
is that
tables.
your entire frontage has a grate, right? So be mindful of the fact that when you get to your limit, no lines or sandwich signs or anything outside of your footprint, because it's going to create a hell of a mess, right?
No,
Okay.
I understand that.
Thank you.
That's, so,
I just told you that. Yeah.
right, 10 o'clock. So it's a 20-foot sidewalk. You're saying the tables go 9 feet, 3 inches, so that leaves the 10 feet and you'll have planters out there. And then your planters are going past the side of the building, so you're gonna have to cut off a table on one side and you're probably gonna have to cut off 2 tables on the other side. The tables on the north, you've got 3 tables there. 2 of those are gonna have to come off because your planter can't round the corner. Your planter is supposed to be at the corner, and the planter box that's past the other one is gonna have to be where that table is.
I think we're gonna remeasure that outside.
It's a separate plot next door also, no?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, but it's not the storefront.
I mean, we're gonna fit, there's room enough for 6 tables. It's just.
So the hours for outside in, so what are your hours for inside again?
I think it was 12 and 3.
Right, so inside is Sunday to Wednesday, 11 to 12, Thursday to Saturday, 11 to 3, and outside is 11 to 10.
10 a.m.
10 p.m.
10
p.m.
p.m.
We're willing to come back on the hours a little bit.
Before we go to that, I'm trying to understand your occupancy because I see a TCO that has less seating. That's dated 2020. September 2020. And then I see a previous C of O from 2017. September 2017 that has a higher number. I'm just not sure where this number that you're coming up from with the 107 is coming from, because the most recent C of O that I can see is less than that.
But Carter, I'm sorry, I think it's because of our layout. If our layout is different than the other layout, then there would be different number of seating.
No, I'm just saying for what's permitted, like what's filed on the certificate of occupancy. Normally you don't see that type of change. I just not understanding what there's always been a question here in the past. I don't remember because I haven't looked into it when we've had the other businesses here. And so their occupancy, I think, was less. So I'm just trying to understand the increase on impact from your operation, because it seems like it's expanding over the previous occupants.
Can you hear me? What's the existing CBO?
The most recent one that
The existing permanent?
this supersedes it, the temp.
No, temps don't supersede CBOs.
A temp C of O?
Permanent CBOs are not superseded by temporary CBOs. Never. You know that, Carter. What's the last permanent CBO?
Then why would they have a temp C of O?
It doesn't
With
mean
last
anything until it
numbers.
becomes permanent.
Okay.
We all know that.
Well, no, that's not true though, because once there's another certificate of occupancy, you can't have two certificate of occupancies on a space.
Right, you can only have one permanent.
Right, but
Temporaries
it gets
don't
superseded
Temps
because
don't supersede
a
permanents.
temp is generally issued before full sign off on a license. You don't go to the last use because the changes are already in process.
Temp is a temp, it's not permanent.
Okay.
What do they say right now? What does it say?
What are the numbers, Carter? What's the permanent CBO versus the temp?
The permanent C of O has 38, 62, and 7. So 69, 79, 89, 99, 109, it sums to 107, which is yours. But it says here, establishment on first floor and office. I don't know. I don't see your office there to remain open to the first floor. So
What are the numbers?
I just read them to you.
Oh, I thought you were reading the permanent.
That is the permanent.
What's the temporary?
The temporary is 361 and 10, so it's 74. And that's most likely because there's some problem with the place of assembly.
That has a description, second floor eating and drinking establishment and banquet hall to remain open to the first floor. That one described office, second floor eating and drinking established to remain. Eating and drinking established on first floor and office. Anyway, okay, so hours. You were saying something about the hours? Somebody go to the microphone.
12 and 2, we could live with.
12 Sunday to Wednesday.
Yes,
And so you're taking the 3 a.m. and moving it to 2.
yes.
Yeah, okay. That's it, right? I'm just gonna, I'm just gonna say that you're saying you're a restaurant and you're open till 2 and it's Mediterranean and it's loungy upstairs and it's a number of private parties. else to say, I think. Is there anything else to say? That's it. No. Huh? No, no, huh? No, they said 10. They said 10. But yep, that's okay. I just, just so you know, because we don't see you here, so once the public speaks, and then we go back, and then I'm just trying, because I'm happy to have you here. So I don't want you to come back. I just going through the process.
Hey, Don, I've got an idea. If you're not in love with it, don't make me present it. I'm not.
Present an idea that
Right,
you're not
right.
gonna.
Okay. All right.
And I'm just, you heard what everybody said, and we have a ton of letters. This is,
Okay, they're
it's,
very nice people.
yeah, no, nobody,
well,
this has
they
nothing about anybody not being a nice person. It just has to do with what everybody's saying. But there's no sense in saying something that you can't.
I mean, the previous place only had 51 seats. So.
You think this is or not? No.
And I have a Mediterranean restaurant next to me now that plays music every night. No. We're gonna.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank-
Okay, thanks.
Thanks.
Good to see you. Bye. Okay. The next application is going to be Giuliani Group.
Oh, all right. Almost. It feels like the last, right?
So let me just, is 242 West 10th here? No, it's Terry Flynn's client, and I don't see the guy here. Thank you. So it's up to you, Les. I don't see them here. He said, he was waiting for Terry. He was here, but he was waiting for the lawyer, and now I don't see him and I don't see the lawyer. So you can, if you have his number. Yeah, go ahead. I doubt they're just hanging out up front, but.
Okay.
Is there anything in the packet here that is not, that you didn't email in?
The petition is there.
Okay,
We gathered petition
okay,
and that was the only difference. That was it.
okay.
And by the way, the first page I made a mistake. I actually added the other principal and I changed the date from the 2nd to the 4th. That's the only difference.
Okay, wait, just give me one.
Hi, my name is Teddy Gonzalez. I'm the representative. The principal owner is Rami Oniani. And Mr. Ed Fay, he's a restaurant consultant. He's my client is Giuliani Group Inc., doing business as Lalico Stories of Georgia at 80 Cartline Street. It's located between Bedford Street and 7th Avenue. He's going to open a Georgian restaurant. It was previously licensed, was a Peruvian restaurant. Inside is going to have 11 tables, 29 seats, one bar, seating six at the bar. Total of 35 at the inside. Total capacity will be 43. Background entertainment, music. Okay, background music for entertainment. I contacted for public outreach. I contacted David Gruber via email. I sent him the business plan and a breakdown of what we're looking to do. The hours of operation, we're looking to do Sunday to Thursday, 8:30 to 12 a.m. Friday and Saturday from 8:30 to 2 a.m.
Okay,
I actually looked around the area as far as Georgian restaurants, and you currently have 3 in your community board. Which now I'm gonna have to go visit them. The food sounds good.
well, we gotta use the microphone.
Yeah, fast food, yeah, one on, issue. They're gonna issue one on Bleecker and one on, yeah. 14th
One on, what's the one on 14th?
That's outside the community board. I did my homework. So the applicant actually, he's applying for a E2 visa. He's from Georgia, and he has over 30 restaurants in Georgia and Russia and other places. He's looking to do basically a casual dining with full service, with a full service environment. And basically background music. That's about it. The outdoor seating, based on the fact that I've been sitting here, everyone else, you're looking at it right now, but we still have to come back to you anyway. So I don't know, you want to even spend time with that as
Well,
far as
you know, I would
outdoor
say-
seating.
How about if there's any outdoor seating?
We have no choice. You have to come back.
But it closes at 10 PM.
Yeah, you,
What can we,
yeah,
would you mind if we extended a little later on the weekends?
So
Only because
10 and
very-
11?
Yeah, because it's very limited seating inside and, you know, the fact that we want to turn over a few tables with the, you know, dinner usually starting around 6, we want to get like 3 turns and the rent is pretty substantial in that area. So we would need the extra time to get an extra turn.
Okay. Okay.
And if anybody have, my name is Eddie Fami, if you have any questions about the concept or the operation.
So what is your role in this?
I'm a consultant and I'm going to be involved in the management of the restaurant.
Okay. And this is Mr.
Yes.
Oniani. Okay.
Yeah, a few words, maybe I'll try. It's first experience for me. I mean, experience with the board, but.
Okay.
Yeah, well, myself, I'm the owner of the company, the founder, and my role basically is to gather the whole team, and I'm the one who creates the concept, who develops it, and so I'm the one who finds the right team for it, and then I manage them because up to now I have more than 30 restaurants across 2 countries, so this is going to be 3rd one. And we have pretty big plans for expansion and making popular Georgian cuisine. So that's what I'm going to be doing, exploring the markets and putting the right teams. So on this project, Eddie is helping with this.
Okay, great. And you're looking to get the visa to.
Yeah, I'm just in the process of getting investment visa. Now I have a business visa, but then I will be able to stay here. I mean, as long as I want to.
Okay. And so I'm just going to raise the issue of the 2 AM, the previous place that, I mean, previously this wasn't licensed, and then it immediately previously it had a restaurant wine license closed at 11 PM. So then you're looking for 2 AM on Friday and Saturday, which is significantly later.
Well, again, because of the limit in seats inside the restaurant and the amount of rent we're paying for the space, you know, the restaurant business is all about numbers and table turns. So we feel like we need the extra time to make sure that we can cover the rent because it is quite substantial for the amount of seating. But we do love the location, and that's why, you know, we are investing a very substantial amount of money into the build out. You see, I have a picture here of rendering. That's down to see how beautiful we're going to make this space. I don't know if it's included in the package, but I brought some just in case.
Okay.
So basically, it's well, one thing is the rent, which is not low, and another thing is that we have a pretty high cost of the labor cost, mainly because we will be staffed around 12 people, so we somehow have to compensate this cost. That's why we're asking for that.
And obviously, once we're operating, if we feel like we're not getting the business during those hours, you know, we're not going to waste the labor to stay open, but we want to at least give it a fair chance.
Cormac?
Yeah, I'm looking at the location. It's a good location for this kind of thing. the building at 63 Downing Street, the apartment tower above, is also part of this building. I just wonder what kind of outreach you've done to them about what you're planning or your hours or anything like that?
Well, part of the outreach, you see there's two different sheets. We went around and knocked on doors. I don't know if we actually had a project manager handle that for us, so I'm not sure if we specifically went to that building, but I can't see anybody in the community not wanting us to be there, because right now, if you look at the property, it's literally covered in graffiti. They destroyed the storefront. It's not good to leave empty, and unfortunately, the ownership of the property, we're asking a very substantial rent, which left it empty for a long time. So, Mr. Giuliani was willing to make the investment in this space, and we feel like we're going to bring something really wonderful to the community.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so what you're saying is you need 2 AM and you gotta have it. Is that correct?
Well, I mean, we would love to have it.
Okay, because 12 and 1 is typically the restaurant hours that we have in our
Yes.
community board, at least in terms of, you can always come back later. We can't promise anything, but this was not even licensed before. Okay, so you're gonna come up against that up at the liquor authority if the recommendation is a negative here, because 2 AM is a very rare thing. In fact, I can't remember at this point when the last time there was a 2 AM restaurant.
Well,
and you just heard the people here asking for 3 AM. That didn't go over so well.
Well,
either, so.
the people that were here, again, I can't speak on their behalf, but I know the kind of operation we're bringing to the table, and we're taking a space and we made a very, very substantial renovation. We were hoping you would take that into consideration. And,
Well, I
make
think the
recommendation.
consideration is this has never been licensed before, and we have. It had a beer and wine license, never had an on-premise license before. And we have so many on-premise liquor licenses in this particular area in our community board. And so for the first time there's an on-premise, we're going to go right to 2 AM. So I just think you have the right to always come back if you need it. I hard believe that you're going to need it at this location. So, I wish you the best. I really do. I think it'd be really nice to have a Georgian restaurant here, but 2 AM is going to be a very difficult sell.
Could we possibly get 1 AM if possible?
Yeah, he said, yeah.
That's fine.
So if that's the most you're willing to do, we're willing to accept that. We want to get this done. And we don't want to ruffle any feathers. We want to, like I said, be a really good part of the community, and we're going to run a very tight ship. The staff he's bringing in is fantastic, so.
Okay, so that's 12 o'clock and then 1 o'clock Friday.
Correct, Friday and Saturday,
Saturday.
yes.
Okay. Go ahead, Katie.
So, I understand that you sent an email to David Gruber, who is a member of the community board and well-known here. Did he answer you?
No, he did not.
Because, the petitions are problematic. There are several pages where all we have is phone numbers, and that doesn't help.
That was no in communication.
And this, I can't really read these pages, which I do see the people in Carmine Street have signed, but it's very hard to read. So, I'm very pleased with your hours, your concession on the hours, but they're a little trouble. The community outreach is a little bit problematic.
The first page of the community outreach that has the addresses was something that Mr. Giuliani, myself handled. We were under the impression that 25 signatures was enough, and then we said we wanted some more. Unfortunately, I was out of the country on business, and Mr. Giuliani hurt his leg. So I had one of my project managers put together a sheet. She didn't realize there had to be addresses on it, but I assure you, the person that did it knocked on doors, and there was people that actually lived in community. So
Okay.
I assure you, call any of those numbers.
What we need to know is where they.
Yeah, they were within 1 block walking distance of the restaurant. That was the instructions we gave.
Okay. Okay, does anybody else from the committee have anything?
Yeah, I'm just looking at, your price points seem pretty high for breakfast, lunch, and we traditionally don't have much business in our community.
Right.
And this is the best places. There's still not significant business at that time.
Well, again, the
And
prices
so I'm
and the
just-
menu aren't finalized yet because we're still sourcing some ingredients and putting together our recipe book. Obviously, the two most important things when pricing a menu is food cost and market, what the market's willing to pay for an item. So once our final prices go out, it'll be adjusted, and I'm sure it'll make more sense because we always do research and menu comparisons to other similar restaurants. We don't want to overcharge, but we have to cover our expenses.
Yeah, I'm just saying that because it's very minimal
Yeah.
breakfast or lunch or dinner around here. And if
Yeah.
that's
Oh, and
rolling
again,
into your pricing, it's
we-
just, I mean, into your revenue, I mean,
You know,
it's just what it is. It's not a
Absolutely.
challenge on.
No, I understand.
quality of what you
Yeah,
have.
I love talking restaurant
And,
business. It's
and,
what I
and
love
the
to
reason
do,
I
so.
just bring that up is because the corridor you're in isn't typically
Yes.
higher dining.
And to be honest with you,
So-
like what Mr. Giuliani said, we're here to test the market, and we might very well not have a breakfast business. And after the first 90 days of operation, if we realize that the breakfast isn't moving, we're not going to stay open. We'll just limit it to lunch and dinner, or vice versa. We might do a bigger breakfast than dinner. So that's all going to be up in the air based on the first 120 days of operation.
Okay.
Anybody else have anything? No. Oh, Dr. Smith?
For the principal, you're the principal, right?
Yes.
Yeah. What kind of visa do you say you have? And are you here and traveling back and forth? Who's going to be in the restaurant?
For this moment, I have a business visa. In 1 month or so, I'm going to have E2 visa. So I mean, but it doesn't. It's not a problem for me to run the business as I'm standing here and running all my businesses abroad. So that's why I have Eddie and his team to help me with this. But in about 2 months, I will be fully occupied here. I am Georgian citizen.
In Georgia is what you're talking about, where your business is.
I have business in Georgia and
Russia?
in Moscow.
Okay, thanks.
I live in Georgia.
Thanks.
And my team, we're a full service consulting firm. I've been doing this for 15 years. I probably opened up over 150 restaurants around the world. So my team is fully qualified to oversee and run the operation.
We good? Okay, think that's good.
Great. Thank you,
very
everybody.
much.
Have a great night.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you very much.
A lot of trees on this. Would you like me to leave this?
I'm so sorry. No.
Thank you, guys.
Okay.
God bless. Have a wonderful day.
Okay, did you hear anything back? No, 240 West 10 West LLC, 242 West 10th Street. Anybody here for that? Do you want, since you're here and you stayed, do you want to comment on it? And we'll hear your comments, or do you want to come back if they come back? Go right ahead.
Okay, I'm Leslie Clark. I'm with West Village Residents. Nancy Paisley and I talked with them over a year ago. We questioned whether or not this was a good location. Previously unlicensed space. It was a small thrift store, a clothing store that actually was in benefit of a Lower East Side charity. We said it was too small a space. They said they wanted to go in there anyway. We said we wanted nothing outdoors. They said nothing outdoors. We said windows and doors closed. I said windows and doors closed. And on the basis of that, West Village residents actually supported this application. I am not happy to be here tonight, nor was Augustine happy to be here last January, just 3 months ago, when they asked for the very thing they promised not to do. This was a classic bait and switch, and I don't mind waiting 3 hours to tell you that. We are opposed to this application. These people were deceptive, and it should not be granted. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I was just gonna say, and this also from your guys' interest with the outdoor dining, I posed this question at a community board training as far as the measurements on the street widths, which is a primary issue in the West Village. I think this street it's only 25 feet, but where are the measurements for the emergency lane taken from for the street? And on this particular street, which is also a bus route, there's the white line, which designates the edge of the parking area along where the police precinct is. And the question was, is that, which I think is roughly 8 feet from the curb, and, you know, whatever it is, that's the edge of the parking lane. And so for 15 feet, it would mean they could only have a 2-foot wide roadbed dining. And it also is a regional corridor, I believe, which requires a 10-foot. Okay.
I think it's a neighborhood though.
But anyway, I just bring this up because this is an issue and we weren't able, they were a little circumspect on how those measurements were being taken, given that waivers may or may not be issued, but they seem to say it was a matter of a foot or two.
Yeah.
Not, you know, reducing it to 10 feet, but I just raised this because that's something I know on all these streets, we're trying to get clarity on how those measurements are taken. There was some discrepancies on Tuesday as well on whether measurements are an arc, meaning 10 feet all the way around, or if it's just a straight line to the building line. So anyway, but this raises a lot of those issues on this particular application. So it's disappointing that they're not here, or perhaps they're waiting.
And
I just texted their attorney. I don't think that's not Terry. So he hasn't responded to me.
And then the other thing, if the white line isn't there, I believe they said that it's 8 feet. When you asked that question,
they
they
said it
said
would
it's,
be-
so if the white line is there, you go from the white line, which I'm questioning if it's 8 feet or 10 feet, but if the white line is not there and it's a parking lane, it's considered, that area is considered 8 feet. So then that takes off from that side, 8 feet.
Yeah, and what happens on that block with the precinct and the bus is the bus often gets stuck when people are not parked properly. And the bus stops and nobody can move across West End Street there.
Do you
Or-
remember what happened at Bleecker and 10th at the bus stop in front of the Jones Sushi? The whole shed came down when someone tapped it.
As we go through this, I don't know, we have not been told when we will be getting some of the outdoor dining applications, but it does not seem imminent.
Especially looking at some of those.
We're almost a month into the portal being open for applicants.
They've announced that they agree to more than 100 applications citywide have been received.
Really?
Fewer than 100. How many here?
It's a neighborhood street, so it's 8 foot on a sidewalk, clear path. And they have to be able to have, you know, the service has to be inside their roped off area. So, anyway, thanks for Nancy. Did you want to speak to this as well, since you're here?
Yeah, just to say, I agree with Leslie. These people were not truthful when they first appeared, and I don't see any reason why this should be granted. But just technically, Carter, this street has a bike lane. Does that have any effect on the measurements? No, that can be part of the 15 feet clearance.
You know, that's an excellent question. Yeah, I was going to say that's an excellent question. If there's many of our bike lanes are protected bike lanes.
No, but this one is not
Right,
protected.
no, I don't, it's also, I think this one is a shared, you know, it's into the street. It's sort of it's not painted green, I don't believe. And so it's treated somehow a little separately because I think it's a little more floating, but that's a great question. And these are the types of, I don't think there's a bike lane there.
Yeah, there's a bike lane on the north.
There's not a painted bike lane. There may be bike
All right,
symbols
well,
that
not
you
a
can
bike-
ride on it, but it's not as separated bike lane.
The other thing I wanted to say, and this would be applied to, I think, many other applications. They've measured the sidewalk as just under 12 feet, and I think that's accurate. And with an 8-foot clearance, they have a barrier there, but I believe you're supposed to be able to serve the tables from inside the barrier, which you can't do on this diagram. So possibly a 12-foot sidewalk is not going to be sufficient for a sidewalk.
Yeah, they don't designate what the service aisle is, so we're not sure. I think that the
But there
DOT
isn't-
has the first batch of
There isn't any here on their diagram.
that they're, sorry, no, just repeat what you said. I didn't hear what you said.
What did you say, Nancy? Well.
No, but they're not. Right, they're
No,
not.
there's not- They don't have to have a, they don't have to have a service lane. They don't have to have a service aisle. They cannot serve from outside the area. So if they think they can fit in that 6-inch space that they have there, that's what they need to do. They need to serve from within there. There's no concrete measurement. There is a concrete statement that they can, that it has to be served from within their area. They can't use the sidewalk to serve either their sidewalk or their roadbed. Right.
Yeah,
Right.
we have a lot of questions on the nuances of measuring because they really come into impact a lot of our streets. And the team that's there, I think, is learning as they go. And so the clarity on some of these basic questions, which we see all the time, is new to them. And so
I think they totally are underestimating how they actually, when Carter asked them one of these things, they were reading about that, the emergency lane. And they seem to think that this would not be an issue often. So I don't think they've looked at I think they're thinking of all of the city and not really looking at what we see 3/4 of the time, because in our neighborhood, it's a huge issue. But in their perspective, this was like, oh, well, it should, what did they, something about it, it shouldn't come up that often, or something to that effect. So I think there's going to be a rude awakening with some of these things. Anyway, thanks for staying, guys. New business, anybody? We'll take a break and come back for business, but, huh? Oh, wait, there was one, should I go through the juicery thing, just so there's one, you guys can go, although you, we did not hear this application on this committee, but I'm just want to cover myself. 19 Kenmare Street, it's a juicery, which is the butcher's daughter, which has one on Hudson Street. When they came to us, you're gonna love it, Bob. So when they came to us, for their application at Kenmare Street, we have stipulations. I'm just gonna try to get it open. That said that there was an old diagram from the previous two previous operators. I think it was a previous operator used the previous operator's sidewalk cafe diagram. And they did not want to have to come back to us as long as they were following that diagram. And so for better or for worse, we added, after much going back and forth, there is a stipulation that says that will not operate a backyard garden or any outdoor area for commercial purposes except for certified sidewalk cafe operating under the temporary open restaurants program located immediately adjacent to the storefront with no more than 20 tables and 40 patron seats. Seating will be the same as previous operator, which followed Tavern LLC. All service will be by wait staff, no roadbed seating. And then the last stipulation was notwithstanding the fifth stipulation, which is what I just read, above, whether under the temporary open restaurants program or a successor program, Juicery Nolita LLC will only be required to appear before CB2 Manhattan for alteration to the licensing of the public sidewalk if changes are sought to enlarge the existing sidewalk seating or increase the number of tables and chairs utilized in the existing sidewalk seating area, or if roadbed seating is sought in the future. So they put in a 30-day notice for the sidewalk, the expansion into the municipal property. I am asking to see the drawing of what that is, because we can't say that we're okay with it without seeing what they're going to be putting at DOT. And so far I've gotten drawings, which I think is also an interesting thing, of what they're gonna find out when they have to apply for DOT, that do not show the edge of the sidewalk, that do not show exact measurements. So I keep asking and keep pulling the copy from the DOT website of what they're gonna have to do and have you file with DOT, and I want to see those plans. And then I actually counted the seats today, and it's like 50 seats and not 40 seats. So I told them I need to see this in order for us to waive the appearance, and I haven't seen it. So I'm just bringing this up on your committee because I think I might just want to put something in that says that we haven't seen it and appearance hasn't been waived. So that's what I wanted to explain. Okay, that's it. Break.
Just right here. Why? Feel bad for me. Not without at least the current, right? So everyone on the 16th has to be that.
I did not. I'm just. After a meeting, but I thought it was very. No, he was super very quick. And we just cleared it out. And I, you know. They want to have the ability to solve it. Interesting to me, and I'm asking everybody, what they think, and everybody's like, that is the almost universal response. No, but that's the universal response. I don't. People are not.
I work in the industry, I have so many touch points on this, like, let me just explain about getting cultivated, like, that's scary to me, and I think that's like a job, I feel like, talk about it. I appreciate that.
You know, I just, no, but I've been asking people and maybe. Not.
We can talk about it, Carter. What? Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, so. We are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people. Okay, first one. First we have the two, the DBMs, the ones that didn't show, you know, waiver for the change of the name and the 214 Sullivan Street for the restaurant line. Deny that. Then we have the Mountain Mafia at 50 Hudson Street. They've been open.
Closed by 18.
They closed at 8. Yeah, deny it. Okay. Then we have, so the. I know.
Right.
I feel bad for Don.
Yeah, I mean, it's the, I don't, you know, it's interesting because at one point we heard it's a landlord responsible, and all of a sudden it shifted to the line. I don't think.
I feel bad for the guy, he doesn't know what he's doing, he's finding that lease.
Well, I'm trying to tell you-
The landlord was here.
So they're representatives.
And, you know, and his concept for place sounds lovely and all, but I'm sorry, I'm not going to suddenly throw out the rules and the policy without thinking.
Because I do feel.
That's not fair, that's not change.
And I just thought it was important to have the discussion with the building representative here, because it's also doesn't look simple. Like with the pictures that they provided with the steps down to the basement. But more than a violation that they said they didn't hear about.
But more of the point, look, I'm not an engineer, I'm not an architect, probably, but I'm not, but it doesn't matter what it looks like to me. I need the city to tell me it's safe before I can believe that.
Well, here. They've got to figure it out.
One thing, if you might go to the bathroom.
That's an excellent point.
That's why, okay, there's a bathroom, not a bathroom. And I was actually really surprised that they came back that way, because the one point I passed the note to Bob saying, it's like, we're already 20 minutes in on a non-starter.
I know.
Full agenda.
Well, this is what I looked at with everything.
Yeah.
Every single one of them, except for the.
But, you know, I was really surprised, like, if I were them, I would have come back tonight with an application ready, you know, I would have submitted an application to use just the ground floor, because I can't satisfy it.
See that lawyer before, they had a whole group of people.
Yeah, this is
The
different.
lawyer was the same lawyer.
Yeah, it's the
He did
same
not
one.
come last time.
Yeah.
We didn't hear. And the other one, well, we didn't hear much from him tonight either. But he didn't hear us, because he knows.
Well, one of the things for that though is that they had provided us with a plan.
Yeah.
Of what was happening and what the steps were and how to accomplish this and finishing the job and whatever it was. We just need to
Who knows
step.
that?
And that there is a progress moving forward. I think been a very different discussion. But the most recent filing was approved at DRB, so they can try and fix it.
So this is, so this is.
Withdrawn. All right.
Okay, so the next one is the salt order, and somebody, I have 11.
It's just California.
This is
Now,
10, Sunday through Wednesday, 11 Thursday through Saturday. That's what he's done.
I mean.
Right,
it's
so
not-
that's what he, that's
Or
why
not
that's
go
what he
tonight.
said, it's
I think
it's Sunday to Wednesday, is 10, is what he said. Yeah.
I mean, somebody being in there is not.
Yeah.
And there's no risk in that store.
That was the thing, is like, that block, okay, so the thing about that block is like you say, you got a population. People shooting up there, there's a lot of the, what they call them, the trustees and things out there. There are people urinating crap on the street. If there's an open shop with licensed things, that's actually like.
Yeah.
Right, but that's what I'm saying, is like I said before, I stop because usually it doesn't work. I mean,
somebody was standing in front shooting up, right, as I'm eating my sushi in front of the plate glass window every day, but, you know, at somewhere else, but it's like, but, you know, it can't hurt.
Can we just say something? Donna, can you please say something? Nothing on the sidewalk, the bench, table. Situation, an issue.
Well, they're not prohibited from it, you know, from doing that.
Just
They
serving
didn't submit it. You know, they didn't submit the.
Yeah, but.
Yeah, but they are now, because they stick to it. I said nothing on the table.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's where the problem is, where the people were shooting out.
Okay, next one is the 299 hospitality.
Guys, it's a completely commercial area.
Yeah.
Okay, if you
Yeah.
want a restaurant there in the hours.
I was willing to give these later.
I might need to cut this out.
We're going to have hundreds of people down the block, very.
What?
Yeah, but it's still.
It's
gonna be like 8 years.
It's okay.
It's all commercial and we need a restaurant.
Yeah.
We want a successful, we would love to have a successful.
Listen, I'm fine with that place. I mean, I was fine with it before we cut the hours, to be honest with you, but I'm okay with cut hours, but I always like cutting hours. But, I think I'm fine. I think it's a nice place.
Midnight.
I don't remember where the hours. came in.
Inside of 11:30 is what he
Just make it.
said.
Make
it 12.
Yeah, 12.
Oh, wait a minute now. Katie fought for that 11.
I
No,
know.
let's talk to the
It's-
11:30.
You know what's right across the street is the union.
I know the
It's
parking.
all-
And we're going to bring people there, and he agreed to something.
I want people to have successful restaurants in my community, and this is near me. I want to check this place out. I would love to have a good restaurant. Because we don't have anything going towards Hudson Square except for Westville. That's the only thing, and they're barely open. So I'm just saying, we need more.
They're not gonna, the issue with them is if they have the business, they can stay open, but they're not.
They're not.
That's the problem, and that's the problem. Maman is the same thing. Maman is, we would love to have them as well, but everything starts to go down there because
Yeah.
I mean, he said his last reservation is at 9:30.
Yeah, that's what he said.
So, people don't usually, this is what we've been doing with a number of people where we would ideally want the hours earlier, but they don't want to make the hours earlier because they want the last group.
he originally said 10:30.
No, well, he said that,
9:30.
yeah, he said that the last seating was at 10:30. Now he said last reservation was at 9:30, something like that, yeah. But
We should be.
And I don't think this place is at risk of changing over. It's not.
No.
To succeed.
The whole-
So Katie, can we be okay?
I'm not happy about this,
But you'll do it.
Please.
barely.
It's 10 p.m.
Barely.
He agreed to the 10 p.m. on the outside.
Yeah,
Well, and then I'll put the last reservation at 9:30.
yeah, that's
He still takes walk-ins if somebody, but that's just his last reservation.
Well, he said last season was at 10:30. If you want to put that in.
Yeah, but.
No, I don't know. I don't care about that.
Okay.
I care about his reservation. I mean, if somebody's walking around.
He's gonna keep his kitchen staff there for them. If they look. It's not gonna.
I'm tired of not being able to keep my own house.
That's exactly my point.
I'm literally looking at the
I
topic,
think
and no search gonna stop serving at 10.
I know.
I think you people are degenerate. I think you go home and eat.
I'm so hungry.
Okay,
Let's finish this
maybe
going.
you're not gonna make it though, I don't think.
No, I'm gonna make it, they know me now, it says the fire run. We know
There, okay. So then the next one is AB 7th Avenue, the thing, I think,
Without the bathroom.
without the bathroom, I mean, I think it's great that they're there, I think it'd be wonderful if they were there, but they need a bathroom that is suitable.
And those people at 16 Barrow Street came out in force when they were trying to put something.
Really older woman that was living there for 50 years.
Yeah, there's a guy who just died in there. that I
But
know.
it's interesting,
Those
nobody
people are
came.
connected, I know.
Because I don't think they know about it.
Yeah, I'm sure they don't know what.
Yeah,
that's
No,
like.
They didn't come out to talk about some sandwich shop around the corner of the other block.
I probably don't know, they probably don't know.
We've been pretty consistent with this when people try to do these.
Yeah, we're not getting civil.
But it's really a public safety issue. You have people mingling.
Go to a long time.
Yeah.
And then there was.
Restaurant,
over on,
people who live in
like
the
in
building,
Chinatown,
that would be. a-
Canal Street, they were gonna walk across.
Having the same.
And Shirley,
Access
to
to
your
the
point,
basement.
like, I understand there are things they're gonna have a chaperone or bodyguard or something like that. But here's the thing, I'm not convinced that's gonna work well when things get crowded. And if I lived in that building, even though you're telling me the staff is gonna come to them, I'd still be like, this is still sketchy. I don't want these people wandering in.
It's a safety issue, but it definitely is.
And here's the, I love, like, what they're trying to do, their place and everything like that, and, you know, I have the concerns about the sidewalk and the grades and things, but, I mean, they're within the rules. And, I mean, I could live with that, but it's too much with the bathroom.
But they've already been putting the pools on the sidewalk. I saw the pools on the sidewalk one day and the pool rooms. I thought,
Whoever said it was bizarre, like,
I think it was
I'm,
bizarre.
like, I'm a young woman, if I'm there and some, like, a man was the worker.
And
And he
he's
said, let
gonna
me lead you
escort-
to a basement,
and
to
he's
a bathroom, I would.
And he's waiting.
Absolutely.
He's escorting you out.
But I'm serious.
I know, I think you're right.
What if they actually make it a gender neutral bathroom?
Right?
And I'm also not really, well, I think it is, because I think it's.
Well, it depends on how many stalls are inside them.
But here's the thing, like, I'm not comfortable with the situation either, where it's like, in order to get the bathroom, I have to be, right, proactive and assertive enough to go to them and be like, I need a bathroom, where's the bathroom, whatever, and then deal with them if they're diffident about it. No.
We're waiting for somebody to.
So we're denying,
So
right?
we're denying.
Yes. Yeah.
Have to deny.
They're also asking us to waive the 2,000.
Right. No, I mean, they can operate
Normally,
where
we
they.
talk about
Right.
it. Just, you gotta.
Just to
A
know.
lot of times we look at what's happened, we go talk on the hall, they never put that.
Yeah.
Now, I will say this, nice people kept calm and reasonable the whole time. Refreshing change from some of the really, you know,
I think they know.
mercurial entitled people we sometimes see.
Look, they can do their sandwich business really well without marijuana. I mean,
But they, you know what was interesting? They said stubborn.
We're gonna say,
So they're gonna have some with some.
They're too late, I'll have to sit down.
The places that are neighborhoods go, I'm not convinced it's about, how.
All right, the next
how
one.
close.
28th Avenue. Which one is this? 28th Avenue?
No, it's your friend.
Chris Rada. Is this is denied? I mean.
This is a negotiation,
Well, they didn't negotiate past.
Maybe finding,
not with us, it's a
maybe
negotiation.
finding a path, maybe finding a path.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Path, I mean, I don't see much of a path between, we were saying 11 and 12, and he's saying 2.
I gotta tell you, I remember when we approved previous license here in that place. Twice. I remember the guy came several years back, you know, and he wanted to make it like a nighttime dinner, place, whatever.
He's the caterer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he came back to make it.
And I remember that I was at the time very skeptical, not a fan of 12 and 1 at that location, but got voted down by the committee. So I'm not voting for anything past 12 and 1 at that location. I don't think it's appropriate for the location. It's not about their business model, it's not about whatever. That load is not the right location for those hours. And I'm willing to go for 12, I will go for later at some of these places.
I also think that, you know, honestly, we have so many businesses that could do that last term or do the seating, we're choosing very specifically not to do it.
Right.
Any of them could very easily transition, focus on that. They're already up and running, and I just find this model, I mean, it's also just, we were just talking about the number of seats are very low. In there, which leads to a lot of standing room and. You know, Chris just saying I'm doing restaurants. I know Chris and
No, this is Chris and the lawyer, this
Right.
is their MO.
That's right.
They're looking to negotiate at the state liquor authority to get, but they'll end up with 12 and 1.
And there's lounge.
But that's how they ask them to be.
There's a lounge that they're saying is waiting room, but then it's not, right? They clarified it's not kind of thing.
And yeah, they switched
But-
the story.
Which basically
It's set up
then
like.
skip your entire line of question from the beginning, which is like, how are you serving food? What's that like up there?
And also the question about C of O. He's not correct, because when you start working on a new project and you get temporaries because you haven't gotten all your sign offs.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I
the
knew it
reason
was
that number is low is because
There's no
there's
point in
an
arguing with Frank.
egress.
He wanted me.
For safety, because the place of assembly is always the egress, and I don't think that they have appropriate egresses there for exits. And I have a feeling it's because they lost.
Why wouldn't we do it?
Why would we, what's the hat? Somebody.
That was the hours, 12.
But I think they want to club in there.
I mean,
And that, I think that's the answer. They wanna like.
America doesn't know Chris, and so.
I know.
Well, I think, yeah, Chris
Okay,
is-
I'm just thinking because that does.
No, because I look at, I've got.
You can
I mean,
totally
he's got-
say, but first they want, it's like
Yeah.
a whole little
It's a
club.
whole thing, and he's
They're
got,
trying to like
he's
make
got
it
the
happy over
lounge,
there.
and he's got a lounge seating upstairs.
And we've
it's
seen
fun.
And I like clubs, but not above someone's.
And we've seen that dog, that kind of dog before. We've seen people with the downstairs basement seating that is like club-like with lots of like, you know, couches and little roundels and a dance floor in the middle. It's like.
Yeah, well, I remember when that, maybe.
What? No, I think I mean another like small, like restaurant on the top with clubs or the bottom, and like automotive park. It's a model we've seen that. I'm not against, but not.
I remember.
Not my family, not
Yeah.
that seating upstairs, and then.
Not
they
that
have
much
radio.
problem.
That's what I'm saying. is
So,
that I'm-
deny?
Deny.
Okay, zero.
Yeah, I didn't like the.
But did everybody
Deny?
deny?
No, so wait, then we have the Giuliani, the Georgia place. Okay, your parking. So are we denying less with the last one?
Yeah.
Yes, we got the hours, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 10 and 11.
I
on the
was a little
outside.
bit curious about how Georgia got the, to be honest, but I wasn't gonna.
Don't ask any question.
Like that.
Yeah, but it might be someone backing it named Giuliani. But it's not the Giuliani we know. He doesn't have,
I don't think he has the money.
he doesn't have the resources. No.
I don't know that he, you know what, here's the thing, the lawyers say you're not big videos. If you just. By the way, speaking of, now, you know, a licensed therapist and mental health, you know, I would just like to give an official opinion. That RFK Junior is an idiot.
You don't have
You
to
see the comment now?
you don't have to be a clinician to come up with that.
Didn't know, did you see the thing today?
I'm a science.
Mass shootings are caused by antidepressants.
Bye, guys. Carter, I sent you the full copy.
Oh, thank you.
Buckle up.
Okay.
One minute.